What's going on, everybody? I hope you're fired up for this episode, because I am fired up for this episode. But first, shall we get through the business side of the house? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Now, let me ask you a question. When you go into the bathroom, do you always close the door behind you? I'm going to assume the answer is yes, because you don't want random people looking in on you. So why would you let people look in on you when you go online? Using the internet without ExpressVPN is like going into that bathroom and just leaving the door open. Did you know that your internet service provider, like Comcast or Verizon, they know every single website you visit, and they can sell this information to ad companies? ExpressVPN puts a stop to this. It creates a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet, so your online activity can't be seen by anybody. ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by CNET, Wired, The Verge, and countless others. I use ExpressVPN on all of my devices, from my iPad to my iPhone to my laptop. It couldn't be easier. You download the app, you pick your location, you slide over to activate it, and boom, you're off and running. So if you're like me and you believe that your online activity is your business, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/clearedhot today. Use the exclusive link, expressvpn.com/clearedhot, and you can get an extra 3 months for free. That is expressvpn.com/clearedhot. This episode is also brought to you by Athletic Greens, the single most comprehensive daily nutritional beverage I have ever tried. I describe it as nutritional insurance. Pick your reason why you're stressed in life, why it's difficult to maintain an effective nutritional habit and give our bodies the nutrition it needs, whether it's your schedule, sleep, exercise, or just stress of daily life. I get it. This is where Athletic Greens can help. One tasty scoop of Athletic Greens contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food source ingredients, including a multivitamin, multi-mineral, probiotic, green superfood blend, and more, that all work together to fill the nutritional gaps in your diet. Increase energy and focus, aid with digestion, and support a healthy immune system, all without the need to take multiple products. It's very lifestyle friendly, so whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free, it's going to work, and it contains less than 1 gram of sugar without compromising on taste. Right now, Athletic Greens is doubling down on supporting your immune system, and during the winter months specifically, they are offering my audience a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase if you visit the link today. You basically never have to buy vitamin D again. So whether you're looking for that peak performance or better health, covering your bases with Athletic Greens makes investing in your energy, immunity, and gut health each day simple, tasty, and efficient. Simply go to athleticgreens.com/clearedhot, and you can join health experts, athletes, and health-conscious go-getters around the world who make a daily commitment to their health every day. athleticgreens.com/clearedhot, and you're going to get your free year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs today. This episode is also brought to you by BetterHelp. If there is something that is interfering with your happiness or it's preventing you from achieving your goals, BetterHelp is here to help you. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating in under 48 hours. This is not a crisis line, and it is not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. There is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be available locally where you live. The service is available for clients worldwide. You log into your account anytime, you send a message to your counselor, they will respond to you, and you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't ever have to sit in a waiting room if you're uncomfortable with that. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, and they make it very easy and free to change counselors if needed. And on that note, take the time that you need to find someone you connect with. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and they have financial aid available. You can visit their website, and you can read testimonials from other people if you're curious. BetterHelp.com/reviews. If you're interested in starting now, visit BetterHelp.com/clearedhot. That is better, HELP as in Papa, and join the over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer, listeners get 10% off the first month at BetterHelp.com/clearedhot. And last, but certainly not least, this episode is brought to you by NetSuite. If you are a business owner, you definitely don't need anybody telling you that running a business is tough and complicated, but you might be making it harder on yourself than necessary. Don't let things like QuickBooks and spreadsheets slow you down anymore. it is time to upgrade to NetSuite. So stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. You can ditch the spreadsheets and all that old software that you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. It gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need all in one place instantaneously. So whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, you can still save time and money with NetSuite. There are over 24,000 companies currently using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/clearedhot. You can schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/clearedhot. Again, that is netsuite.com/clearedhot. My guest today is a longtime friend, and I love him to death, Mr. Miles Daisher. Miles is a member of the Red Bull Air Force. He is a force to be reckoned with in the gravity sports realm. He is the one who taught me how to base jump. He is the one who taught me how to fly a wingsuit. He is also the one who taught me how to combine those two things, which is something I recommend that no one does. And on that note, how about we just get into it? Episode number 168 with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Miles.
Okay, got the red smoke. Gun run, north or south, west of the smoke, west of the smoke. Okay, copy, west of the smoke. I'm looking at danger close now. Come on with it, baby, give it to me, I need it. You're cleared hot. Copy, cleared hot.
Yeah.
Put the microphone works when you speak
better?
into it.
Like this?
If you think I'm cutting that out, I'm not going to.
Bring it.
You know damn
Hell
well.
yeah.
Yep, everything is lined up. I'm glad you're still alive, Miles.
Dude, thank you. Me too, man. I'm glad you're alive as well. I am glad I'm alive as well. Thank you for that. Yeah.
How many base jumps are you at?
I'm just over 6,000.
Over the course of how many years?
20. Oh gosh, I started in 95. So what year is it? 21? I
21,
don't even look at the calendar anymore.
Carry the one, I think that's 46 years of base jumping.
Yeah, 79 years.
That's a long time.
It was a while, dude. Yeah, it took...
Before it became as popular as I would say it is. Well, maybe not even popular, but recognizable.
Yeah, it was more daredevil outlaw activity back then, where everybody was like, only the people who wanted to break laws were going base jumping and, breaking
Did they really
laws
want to
do it.
break laws, or they just
Some
want to...
did. Some people, that's what they're into.
The
I know
rebel
a few
spirit,
guys.
if you will.
The what?
The rebel spirit, if you
Rebel.
will.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I was like, yeah, no, I mean, when I first started, there was like, you had to have a mentor, someone who was still figuring out the gear. There was like a couple of manufacturers that were just starting to put gear out, that kind of thing. You had Apex and
Probably Asylum with Marty.
it was before, it was Marty, but he was with Adam Filipino, and it was called Consolidated Rigging, which still is Consolidated Rigging, but he went on to work for NASA with parachutes, big stuff. And Martin Tilley, he does all the building of the same Parachute Pro and the Aces and the Blackjacks and all that good stuff. And he started his own canopy called the 7. And now he's working with Squirrel, who's leading the whole game right now. Squirrel.ws.
Which is, Matt and Mike, that's a fucking terrible website. Just make it squirrel.com. Even though
.com would be cool, but
I
yeah,
assume
they're
it was probably
wingsuiting.
taken. I know, but
Maybe. Yeah, probably so.
somebody has squirrel.com.
Probably.
And it's
yeah.
probably a gay porn site.
Yeah. I haven't clicked on that one yet, so I don't know. Yeah.
Some people are right now.
Yes,
as they hear
I know.
say
They're
this.
checking it out for sure.
Closest you've come to death in those 6,020 jumps over. Actually, how many years is this? This would be 5 years to 2,000. So you've been doing it for 25 years. This will probably be your 26th.
Yeah, probably. But yeah.
What stands out is some moments where the
I've only said shit
sphincter
twice.
pressure was tight.
Yeah. It was always wingsuiting. Wingsuiting is the most crazy thing in the sport.
Skydiving or base jumping?
Base jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Skydiving, I've been fucking awesome. Actually, I've only been injured in skydiving, and I haven't been injured base jumping. And but I didn't even see that one coming. That was just like bam, just occupy the same place in the sky.
Oh,
with
you had a
Jimmy
mid-air
Halliday.
collision?
Oh yeah, at about 1,000 feet.
Oh, under Canopy.
Over Lake Wales. Yep. It was gnarly. Blew up my shoulder. I've got fiber wire in there now. It's keeping it all dialed in. I can't
like
walk
a
down.
head-on collision under Canopy? What happened?
I was holding brakes. Well, on the way up to altitude, Jimmy Halliday and I, we were we had just finished oh gosh, what was it? Like 2.5 weeks of free fly training in Lake Wales. And we were sponsored by the Drop Zone. And they're like, hey, can you guys host a boogie and take care of some dudes? And I'm like, heck yeah. So I was leading a tracking jump, and Halliday was videoing a tandem for the Drop Zone. And on the we were looking out the window as we're getting ready to take off, looking at the flag going, oh, look at that, dude. It's light winds. It's perfect for a downwind landing. And the safety training advisor goes, I'd like to see that. And me and Halliday look at each other, and he goes, noted. Fuck, it's on, dude. We're going downwind. We're the first ones down. So
I don't think the safety and training officer should be saying those things.
He didn't know what he was getting himself into. He didn't know us very well yet. And so we both are setting up the downwind landing, and I'm holding brakes, looking at it over here, and Halliday is looking at it while he's spiraling down on his. I'm on a 120 stiletto, and he's on a VX 69, and he weighs 200 pounds, so he's heavily wing loading that thing, and he's diving it down, doing probably 70 miles an hour down, and I'm probably doing like 20 miles an hour down on my, holding brakes, and
sounds like the classic target fixation where you're looking at where you want to go and somebody else
and not where you're going.
Correct.
Yeah, you're looking where you eventually want to be. Exactly. And spiraled right down, and his canopy hit my canopy down the lines, hit my shoulder, and just blew it up right then. Like basically the rotator cuff muscle attaches to your humerus, and I broke a chunk of my humerus off with my rotator muscle still attached to it. And I just let out a big loud motherfucker because it hurt so bad. I thought I was getting attacked in the air. I was like, what the fuck,
What did you think you were being attacked by?
I had no idea. It felt like I got hit by a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just hurt. I just felt like I got punched in the body, and it hurt so bad. And I was just like, and I was thinking, oh my God, we're at 1,200 feet.
It's not a lot of
cut
time.
away. Just pull your reserve. And
so
I look
you
up,
had canopy damage, I'm assuming.
no, just my slider was shredded.
Interesting.
His lines hit his canopy. I don't know if it hit my canopy, but I know it hit my lines because it shredded his canopy. And probably my arm went in one of his cells or something. It just, it just blew up my shoulder. And he was thinking the same thing. We're at 1,200 feet. Don't cut away, just pull your reserve, because you don't have time to cut away and then pull your reserve, right? And I look up, I see line twists, and I just start spreading risers and kicking out. And I'm just thinking, my shoulder hurts, And I look down and I see this yellow reserve open, and I'm like, holy shit, I packed that reserve. That's Halliday. And it opened up into the wind. Awesome. It looked like he was about 400 feet or so, but his main canopy was still attached, and half of it was shredded and half of it was inflated.
Ooh.
So it just pulled him into a right-hand turn, and he just went 180. And just as he got 180, he wasn't on the grass anymore, and he was over the runway, and he just went feet head on the runway, and he broke his pelvis in half and cracked his back, and his ring sight smashed in his face. He got the worst of it. And then I landed fine. I went downwind like I was going to, because you don't have to flare as much, you don't have to pull your toggle. I did a practice flare, and I was like, my shoulder hurts, and I couldn't get it past halfway down. And at the time I was doing like 20 pull-ups at a time, I was pretty strong at the pull down, yank down time. And yeah, I'm going downwind because you don't have to flare as much. And I just planed it out and slid it in, and I kind of went carving off to the left because I couldn't get my hand down past halfway on the right-hand side. And then slid it in, and I sat there, and I look over my shoulders just hanging down, and I'm like, this isn't good. And that was my only injury, skydiving right there, and under canopy. So
I'm trying to think if I've been hurt skydiving. I've hurt my feelings.
I've hurt mine and plenty of other people's feelings. Soft feelings
emotionally, I've been destroyed skydiving, throwing equipment across the drop zone and kicked D-bags. And
yeah, but that doesn't count.
I know, I'm trying to think. I've definitely eaten shit.
Yeah,
I've
but
never
walked it off though, right?
Yeah. I always just tell myself drunk driver. I will literally verbalize right before I eat shit, drunk driver, and I relax, and then just.
Like in Lauterbrunnen.
Yeah.
Off the Via Ferrata. Holy shit. You come running over. Did you see that? I'll see what? Let's pull that out and see how many line twists you got.
Oh, yeah, that's right. When I landed backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you climb past the line twist, which is a teaching point I use all the time, dude. Hell yeah, you're a great bad example. No, that was a good example, actually.
I was just like
how to
flying
survive.
backwards, looking over my shoulder. I'm like, all right, I'm going to make it over that fence, and
relax. Yeah.
it was fine. Yeah, that video, after I ball it up and the canopy like lands on top of you, hear me like, woohoo!
Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Uninjured. Yeah. Didn't even go into the forest.
Ooh, it was headed into the forest if I had not done my little monkey climb up to move those lines. Yeah, that was gnarly.
Dude, good thing you're a quick thinker, man, because most people wouldn't have figured that out in that amount of time.
I had nothing but time to think.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I was had a lot going on.
Yeah. Now what? Yeah, right?
That video, I had a rear-facing camera on, too, and that video, it's just like, doosh, spin, spin, spin. And there must have been like 8.
7.
So, yeah.
Well, you remember you took it off laying down and you shoved it in the bag because we had to run and catch the cable car because that was the plan.
Yeah.
Stick to the plan, you know. And you just took it off and slid it in, and you come running over. Did you see that? I'm all, see what? That was a nice flight, man. You know. And we went up and we got some coffee and jammed over to the packing area.
Showed you the video, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You helicoptered yourself with your tail wing. It seemed, you know.
I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
It was definitely my fault, though.
Pretty sure. Yeah. You know, I don't know who else's fault it could have been, but you know.
So base jumping wise, what's the closest it's ever come to substantial injury or near death?
It was in that same place where we were in Lauterbrunnen, but on the other side, where you know, you see that big notch up there in the mountain, and it was around the back side of the Jungfrau, and it was a place that Uli Gegenschatz opened called Milk. The new school millennials call it Milkstuhl, but Uli Gegenschatz, who jumped it first, who gets to name it, called it Tausendsasse for 1,000 Dreams.
That's the field. You're talking about the Jungfrau, right?
Yeah.
The low or medium or high Jungfrau?
Yes, the one we jumped together. Yeah, oh my God, that was so awesome.
We jumped the low Jungfrau together.
Yes.
Because I've never done...
That was the one I'm talking about, yeah.
So I've never done the medium or middle, I guess it would be. But I have gone to the high.
Yep. Yeah, I heard that one's spicy.
Yeah, do you know Thor?
Thor Alex, yeah.
So he...
Oh, no, different Thor. Thor Alex
Thor.
is like, hey, it was like a few years before.
No, it was Thor and myself and Alex Sonnenberg.
Yeah.
And Thor's like, it's just a little hike.
Yeah.
Which first
he
off,
took you to Gitchen, which is also a big hike, and yeah.
he told us the Gitchen hike was 90 minutes.
Yeah.
4 hours later, we were still immersed in the fog. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
But he was amazing. But he takes us up to the hike to the below Jungfrau is, call it 2 if you're booking pretty well.
Yeah, 2 is fast.
Because you got to go through the woods, make that traverse, up the green grass, hook around,
river, yep.
underneath the exit point, up the chains,
Yep.
hook that right.
Up and around, yeah.
Correct. Have you been to the high one?
No.
Well, you know that mountain that just continues up at a 45?
Yeah, you're like halfway
That's
up,
where it
right?
goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So we go and we go and we go. And I get to the top, and I was a faster hiker than Alex. I just laid on my back for like 30 minutes while he showed up.
Yeah.
And Thor's up there. Beautiful, like wind, clouds rushing up at your face. Like, this is awesome. It's going to be great for lift. Thor's like, all right, guys, and just bombs.
Just goes.
Yeah.
Hey, see ya.
He gave us a brief of some kind. I don't remember it. And Alex and I are just kind of sitting up there like, well,
Sonnenberg,
this is how we do it.
Yeah.
And fuck, man, the rocks were all gray. And I think it might have been one of the only times where right after I jumped, I was like, oh, no.
Oh, I fucked up. Yeah, I felt that before. Yeah.
Full commitment, but you look down and your head is just like, oh, no. I'm like, I have to fly out of this.
Yeah.
Got to go into May. And then, of course, it dove off rapidly. And shit, we were probably flying for 20 seconds before we passed the lower one.
Yep.
And then over the, what is it, the Field of Dreams? Field of Joy?
Field of Joy, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's this big grass field that you have to dive
Perfect
at.
angle.
And you're diving at it, and you just get all this power, and you're just like right along the top of the grass. It's so beautiful. And like Uli Gegenschatz, he named it Tausendsasse. But as Americans, we go in and we change everything. And like, hey, you know, like the moose or La Moose that the French guy's named.
Which is French for the moose.
Yeah, the moose. Exactly. Yeah. So we renamed it. But we called Tausendsasse tons of salsa because once you go past that Sextra Bitchin' Field of Joy and you bank a right, and there's that big giant cliff band that just kind of sweeps all the way around the mountain, and you're just following. It's like a big like quartz vein, but it's a cliff vein that goes cliff edge that goes all the way around. And it kind of dips in and comes out and dips in, so you could dip your chip, tons of salsa, go in there.
It just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah, and then you wrap around, and then when you detach, you cut across, and you're at the landing area where you had your line twist landing.
Yeah, basically the landing area of the Via Ferrata.
Yep, at the bottom of Steckelberg.
So you had a close call there.
Oh, dude. Okay, so Uli Gegenschatz was there. And Loic Albert, the guy who's flying the wingsuit, he made the ProFly. He was flying the wingsuit over people's heads that were skiing. The original wingsuit guy that everyone's like, oh my God.
Oh, yeah,
right
those
off the
very
ground.
first videos.
Yes. And it was right around that time, too.
Which is crazy because you look back at what that wingsuit looked like. Yeah. Like, dude, that was a napkin in comparison to the suits that are today.
It's a tracking suit now.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
I know exactly the video because the first time I saw that, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the suit I was wearing was the ProFly. It was the S-Fly Expert is what it was. It wasn't even a ProFly yet.
Expert
it was a
indeed.
small one. Dude, oh my God. And I was with Julian Boole, and Julian and Loic go off together and do a 2-way, and then Uli Gegenschatz does a solo on a vampire and like a V1. It was like the brand new, this is it, this is rad. And they all have smoke pumping and stuff. And they tell me it's a little in your face, you know, just get steep and go. And I'm like,
As in visual? It's a little visually intense?
Yes. Yeah. Means you don't have enough room to really truly start safely, you know, don't fuck it up twice.
How fast did those old suits start? And for people listening who don't know anything about wingsuit base jumping, we're talking about standing on a cliff in a suit. You jump out. You're falling vertically. In the new suits, I would say, what, 2 seconds, second and a half, if you're really, really good to get it moving forward?
Two's fast, yeah. And
so that's the start.
You're dropping 300 feet, you know, 150 to 400 feet roughly, depending on how good you are.
And that's the start that I'm talking about. How fast you can get this suit to start flying horizontally. Those old ones.
Inflate it, steeply inflate it, and then pressurize, and then push and start gliding. Yeah.
And it's gradual. It's not like
no. Yeah,
so how about those old suits though? What was a good start on that thing?
Long time, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, there's a video. I don't even know where it is. It's somewhere on YouTube. How to get into it. It's like Red Bull base jumper almost dies on a wingsuit or something like that. This is what it's called. You know? I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great name. Thanks for putting that up on me, dude. Appreciate that. But I got off. And I'm arching, you know, like a base jumper, eyes on the horizon, arch. And
Which is also known as stalling your suit.
Stalling the crap out of it, yeah. And then I started I started like laying forward a little bit, and I'm like, I'm not going. And I see the ground coming up, and it's super steep, but I mean, I'm about to impact, and I'm looking at my impact zone coming, and I'm thinking, fuck, do I emergency pull right now? Or do I go for it? I go, well, I got another second and a half. So I tilted my head down and I aimed at the rock I'm going to hit so I can get power to push away from it. And I aimed at it. And then I went through a zone where there was no pulling allowed because you're not going to inflate your wing or you're not going to inflate your parachute in time. You're just going to hit. And then I felt my wing pressurize right as I went through that. And I'm like, push on my leg wing and just, and I missed it by 15 feet, the ground. And it was like I was like using ground effect. No, I wasn't using ground, but I was really, really close. And I'm like, oh my God. And I just took off. And the way that mountain works is it's steep, but then it flattens out and then it goes steep and then it flattens out. So I'm over a big section that flattened out and I'm thinking I can pull and land up here now. But it would be like open, get your brakes, turn, flare, land, done, you know? And then you got to walk down and like, I think I can make the next one. And I just pointed it at that next bulge and I just cleared the next one. And then I got into another zone where I could pull again. And then there's another bulge. I think I could make that. And I cleared that one pretty decently, you know? And then there was one more and then I was like so high that I was diving at that one for fun. You know, I went from like, I'm going to die to like, woo, this is awesome. And
so you were in the red zone for a large portion of that jump.
Multiple times, you know.
Like mandatory performance or your face
or
is
you're
going to
die, dude.
come in intimate contact with your asshole.
Yeah, that was my first time I almost got to die. And it freaked me out. We were shooting a thing for sort of the North Face. And I went over there with Will Burks and Carson Klein. And they didn't go on that one because Carson was just getting his wingsuit on and Will was just tracking suiting. And the day before we ran into those guys on the Moose and they all got into a car and drove off and we're like, all right, later guys. And they're all, hey, if you're going to come out tomorrow, blah, blah. I'm all right. I'll tie in with you guys. And they got in a car and drove off and we're like, well, let's start walking. And then a limo pulls up and picked us up and we got in the limo and had cocktails on our way to back to the Horner Pub to go pack. But then I met with those guys the next day while my team went and shot some yodeling. And there was like some band playing and some yodelers going and they went to that in the morning and I went and hiked, you know, before the sun rose to go up and almost died on that cliff. Fuck. And when I landed, I was like, blah, 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 oh my God, I almost died. And they were like, what is he talking about? You know? And
Which, to be honest, that's generally the pace that you talk at as it is.
Especially when you're base jumping, because all the synapses are firing and you're just going, man. Like, that's when you're really alive and awake, you know? I mean,
you're like that on the exit point. I remember when you and I were on the high Lamoose and you just, for whatever reason, pulled out your hook knife and threw it off. You were so amped out of your...
peaking, man.
And here was the problem. I was like on my first wingsuit base jump trip with you.
Dude, that was a gnarly one.
And I feel like I was keeping my shit together, and I look over, and you're just amped. And for whatever reason, you just reach down, pull out your hook knife, and you throw it off the cliff.
Threw it off the cliff. I thought I was unbuckling my leg wing that snapped onto my wingsuit.
Yeah.
And I grabbed the wrong snap, and I just flung it so that it would fly off cleanly. And then as I flung it, I'm like, that was my hook knife. And you're all, did you just throw your hook knife? I'm all, I sure as hell did.
You're like, I'm definitely peeking right now.
Are you peeking? I'm all, like a duck in China, man. Fuck, man. This is a go-in zone. It was that, okay,
the high
exit was more gnarly than the Thousand Sauce, the one that I almost died on. But we had the right suits for it. You know, we had the A2 back then, and those suits inflate quickly and go.
Yeah, I've only done that jump maybe about a dozen times. The Thousand Sauce one, I didn't find that one to be incredibly visually intense.
It was fine on an A2, easy. But you put yourself on an expert, and you're like, oh yeah.
Can you imagine trying to do that high Lamoose with that smaller? You would go in, I bet you.
You'd go in, dude. You would not be able to inflate. It
is visually intense, though, on the high Lamoose to look down because you can see those treetops.
And they look like spears coming at you. Oh, my God, yeah. Because they are like spears coming at you.
I think the first time we did that together, we were up there with Scotty Bob.
Yep.
And I was like, Scotty, would you mind just going so I can watch which direction?
Yeah. And how about, can you emergency pull? He says, no. Like, holy shit, really? I think you could, but you'd be wasting time and it would be bad.
Yeah. So for the people listening, the emergency pull is exactly that. But on some exits, you either fly your suit or you're going to impact the ground. Yeah. So you need to have a level of currency and competency and the correct equipment.
Yeah. And training.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be fully versed in your suit, how it works and how to pull it together in a instant. You know, you can't just try to figure it out on the spot. That's why, you're supposed to get at least 200 wingsuit flights before you start thinking about doing a cliff, in the wingsuit that you're going to jump.
What gogoverning body is keeping track of that, Miles?
That's just the School of Hard Knocks right there, Yeah. There's nobody keeping in track. I mean,
weren't you guys talking about last night a guy that showed up at the bridge and you don't know where he got the gear and he just did a jump with no training?
Yes, he sure did. Yeah. And I think he was either drunk or on something, and I wasn't there. I heard the story about how he was just mumbling and cussing to himself, and then the girl that shot the video, Brooke was like, I think you want to, and he was like, fuck off, blah 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 blah, and ooh, so she just backed up and watched him, and he just didn't even set his brakes. They just exploded when.
Do you think he was a skydiver?
I think he's got skydives. Yeah.
I don't know what would possess somebody to. So the bridge we're talking about is the Perrine Bridge in Twin Falls, where it's completely legal to base jump. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming every day of the year.
Always, yeah.
Which is where I learned, where I met you. But what would possess somebody to go there with gear that they know nothing about and jump off?
Yeah.
Mental illness would rise to the top of the list for me. Suicidal ideations or tendencies would be number 2.
There's a thing called YouTube, and there's a thing called eBay, and people have done that, dude. And they think, I could survive anything and go for it, and it's... You might, but
you might survive that learning curve.
Probably is part of your equation, then, if hope is part of your plan.
Yeah, hope's not a good strategy.
You should get another plan.
What's your number 2 nearly went in?
It was that same week. It was that same trip. Yeah. Oh my God. And that one was even fucking more sketchy. Yeah. We went with Uli Gagenshots. He took us to. We went to Ponzione del Nasca, and we opened it, we were the first people to jump off of it. And it was just...
Is that in Spain?
It's in Italy. Okay. It's just you jam down across the border. We drove, 3.5, 4 hours, something like that.
Dolomites?
It's, yeah. It's right on the border. No, it's Alps. It's Alps on the border. And, but the thing was, I just had that almost going in experience. So I'm like, rethinking life and am I doing the right thing?
Life
and,
choices.
Yeah. I've got kids by now, and I'm like, dude, I almost fucking died and like, left my kids, and that would suck, and so I'm like, oh, okay, we're going to a new place, and I don't know why, but the whole night before we went down there, I couldn't sleep, and I was just thinking, you're gonna be low. I programmed it. You're gonna be low. You're not gonna be able to because back then we used to pull your pilot chute out to open your parachute. So you're flying and you pull your hands back and you pull out your pilot chute, and then we used to get into like a cannonball so that you build airspeed so that the parachute opens faster. But when you're flying, I was just learning from the European guys that you pull and then you fly again to maintain flight speed.
Yeah, so you don't have a drastic altitude loss.
Yep, and as hard of an opening. And I was thinking, I'm going to pull, I'm going to fly, and when it opens, instead of unzipping, because sometimes those zippers jam up, especially on those suits, there's a cutaway thing for your arm wing, so you can reach up and grab your toggles. So I reach here and cut away my arm wing and then grab my toggles. And I just laid in bed, and that's all I thought about all night long is that, what I'm going to do if I'm too low to pull at a reasonable altitude. Then in the morning, everybody wakes up at like, what was it, like 5:30, something like that. And we took the first train down from Wengen because we got our cars parked at the bottom, and then we drove. I drove, everybody slept. And the whole way there, I'm thinking the same thing. So I'm pretty sure I pre-programmed that myself. You know what I mean? Because you can create your own destiny by just thinking about it. And I sure as hell did. And when we got there, we had a helicopter that took us to the top. And we get to the top, and the winds are like gusting strong in our face. And Uli's, oh, it's not good. It's not good. But there are places. You have to feel it like a paraglider. You have to pick your moment. And they're trying to do this heli approach and like come around, and they do like 5 circles, and he's like, nope. And he's on his vampire.
Are they trying to film it?
Trying to shoot it. Yeah, we're shooting it.
So they're trying to get the
TV.
shot as the helicopter comes around.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he has him like gets on the radio and just park it, and I'll just go when the winds are good. And he gets one, and he goes, and he's awesome, and he's way out over the valley, and he's awesome. He flies way down. It's like a almost 5,000 foot top to bottom flight.
Oh, sweet.
It's huge. It's beautiful. Oh, it's amazing. And then Carson gets up and gets ready to go, and they want to do the behind shot with a reveal and then go. And he's like, nope, just park it. And he's a paraglider, fully versed, and he's feeling the winds and playing spot the lull and all that stuff. And, and he goes in a nice lull, and he flies out on a Phantom, gets way out there over the valley. No big deal. Here I am on my S-Fly expert. And, I'm up there, and I'm like, we want to do the thing, the reveal. I'm all, bring it, Fuck, let's go. We're making TV, aren't we? You want good TV? You want bad TV? Let's make some good TV. And so they're coming over behind me, and as they're coming over, the gust picks up, and I'm all 3, 2, 1, see ya. I was like going for it. And actually, a strong wind that hits the face and goes up actually gives you good lift and a quick start. And I got off, and I was fine, and I'm flying out, and instead of like getting into it and getting aggressive and attacking in a steep dive, I'm just kind of floating and looking around like, this is awesome. Look at that thing. Ooh, there's a power line over there. Holy crap. Don't get near that, And then I'm like, okay, they're out there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm kind of back in this bowl, and I'm barely going to make it out. And I start diving and then I started getting aggressive, but it was already kind of late. And when I got down, like I got into one of those no pull zones where the ground's coming up and it rolls over, but then it drops off, and I clear that terrain, and I'm just diving at it. I'm like aiming at it so that if you don't start to lift before you get there, just pull. And I'm just barely making it, and I'm clearing it, but it's long. And as I'm going over it, you can hear it on the video. I just go, fuck, And I'm like, I'm in a no pull zone. I'm like treetops going underneath me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not good. And then I'm like, gotta make that next clearing. And I made it. I'm all, yes. Okay, now I'm going to pull. And I'm like, oh, I think I got the next one. And I did the same thing on the next one like an idiot. And I just cleared that one, right? And then I'm all, oh, I could walk down from there. I'm like seeing like where I could pull and open by this like hut and then walk down the rest of the mountain. It'd probably be an hour walk or whatever. Still alive to make that walk. That's cool. And then I saw one last bump, and then all the way to the bottom. And I'm like, I'm going for it. And I cleared all that. And I was getting so low that I was looking, I could see Uli Gegenshots in the landing area standing there. I could picture his face right now with his canopy over his shoulder, and he's looking at me, and he's yelling, pull, pull. He's pointing, pull. That's a skydiving signal, pull. And I'm like, I give him the old, you know, I got to clear this last little bit and I'm going to flare and go. We didn't even flare then. I didn't even know what I'm talking about. But I knew I was just going to clear that last bit and pull. And it was one of the lowest openings I've ever done in my life, you know, on a base canopy. And I've done some low ones. And I pulled. I got line stretch. And my canopy went left. I needed it to go straight. And I'm right over the roof of this house. I turned my rear riser to miss this tree, and I just missed it. And my canopy's just inflating, like fully inflating, and I hit the roof of this house, and I hit it hard. And I just kicked it with my feet really hard and went feet ass, you know? And I yelled, "I'm okay." And my canopy's still over my head, and I really don't know if I'm okay or not. I just know I'm alive, you know?
Yeah.
And my canopy falls off the side of the roof, and I'm trying to pick it up, but it hooked some guy's clothesline thing downstairs, you know, like underneath, and I'm trying to pull it up, and Uli's all, "Are you okay?" I'm all, I feel my legs. Yeah, I'm okay, man, you know? And I had a little bit of a limp that evening, and the next day I didn't jump because I scared myself, and I just did interviews.
You think?
Yeah. And then the next day after that, I started jumping again and everything was back to normal. But I went through like depression that next day. I was like, am I making good life choices? Oh my God. You know, I almost died. Dude, I was sad. I cried, dude. Just like alone sitting in my room, like started crying like, dude, that was so stupid, you know?
It's tough when it gets thrown in your face like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you could have made that a closer call.
No.
I mean, it sounds like if you would have pulled a half second later, you probably
I would have been dead.
You would have
Easy
impacted
dead.
during
Yeah.
line stretch.
Line stretch, exactly.
Did it change your perspective or approach to base jumping once you had kids?
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude, totally. Hell yeah.
Because I started when I had kids, so I didn't have that transition.
Yeah. No, I was base jumping well before I met my wife Nikki, and I was loose cannon, thinking that my survival skills were fantastic, and I could, you know,
Which they are actually.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's because the ADD. When your mind works that fast, you're like, sweet, I can make all kinds of decisions in a time that most people can't make decisions because they're too busy. Like, what is that? I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Like, I don't know, kind of bird brainish a little bit, so I can like,
hyperactive, if you will.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. But I've reined it back a lot, and even more so lately, you know, because now I'm like, yeah, I've done that, been there, you know. There's cool things that I still like to do that are cutting edge, but I'm not letting my survival skills take over and do that anymore. I'm letting my methodicalness a little bit and some proper prior planning take over instead of like, I got this, hold my beer, you know. It's not my formula anymore.
Probably wise. Probably why you're still sitting here.
I hope so. Yeah.
How'd you get? I mean, obviously you started skydiving first, but how did you get into skydiving?
I kind of fell into it.
I see what you did there.
When I was a kid, my dad was in the Air Force. I've been to a lot of air shows, and I've been around aviation my whole life, and I always thought I would be a pilot and that kind of thing. And then I was playing soccer one day in Ohio with some family friends, and we saw a skydiver land, and I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I want to do that, you know? And it wasn't until I graduated college and moved up to Lake Tahoe, and I was living in this house in Squaw Valley, call it the Primal House, because Primal Instinct Bungee Jumping, where my friend Jimbo Fritsch, he ran that company, and basically everyone in the house worked for him, you know? Like we would go out in full moons and go hit train bridges and send like 50 people bungee jumping all night on a full moon night. And
sounds super legal.
Not well, it is if you don't get caught. Like if like I first started that job like in a car watching the train tracks. Oh, there's a train coming.
Yeah,
Or there's a sheriff driving down. Yeah, exactly. That's where I got most of my school papers drawn up, you know, and for college. And there was one of our roommates in the Primal house, Frank Gambali. He skydiver, base jumper. He'd always say, "Don't tell anybody about this, but watch this video." He was all secret guy, you know, but he was showing you the video. So you're like, wait a minute. He says, don't tell, but he's showing. Okay, I'll just go. I want to see it, you know? And Frank shows us some skydiving videos, some base jump videos. I'm like, holy shit, where do you go skydiving? I want to go do that. And he's like, you got a credit card? I'm like, yes. All right, we'll go to Davis, California, where you did your world record.
Yep. So this is early 90s at this point.
1995.
Okay.
September 6th.
Oh, so a year before you started base jumping. Okay.
Yeah, two years.
Gotcha.
And then, so 95 I started skydiving, 97 started base jumping.
There you go.
My bad. Yeah, sorry to
It's all right.
fact check that one.
24 years. No, it's not 25.
24.
Far less
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, totally. Call me in a year, bro.
Not even a quarter
Not
of a
even
century.
a quarter. Yeah, just shy. But I went down to Davis and Yolo County Airport. YOLO. You only live once. And this guy Stig Hahn, who actually I just saw a month ago, who was just rolling through Twin Falls and like, dude, Miles, you still live in Twin? I hung out with Stig, the guy who ground schooled me,
Yep.
And it was really awesome to see him. And
Did you go just through the normal AFF progression and started jumping on your own?
accelerated free fall program. Yep, exactly. Yep, 8 hours of ground school. You go do a jump that evening, and then the next day did like 4 jumps, and then I did 11 jumps in 3 days, and then they're all, okay, you're off student status, you can go jump on your own and stuff, and you don't know what you're doing
At all.
No, not even. And
At
and,
all.
yeah, Frank was my he was the guy teaching me all the time. We were roommates, so we would drive down the drop zone together, and he was just like talking the whole time, just getting me all fired up on like what to do and how to dial everything in, and so I learned from Frank and Bali how to skydive and base jump, and
What was your introduction to base jumping?
well, Frank didn't want to teach me base jumping because my friends called me loose cannon.
It's weird.
And reckless abandon.
I don't know
but
why.
that was my poker nickname.
Reckless abandon?
I was really good at bluffing, and I'd be up like $400, and then I would lose all my money and all my rent money, and then like just trying to bluff my way, and yeah, playing a game called Drop Zone. And so I earned a nickname, Reckless Abandon. And Frank's all, dude, I'm not teaching you how to base jump because you're too dangerous, And you get in over your head on skis out on the mountain at Squaw. I'm all, yeah, but I pull it off. I'm okay. See, I never even got hurt, I can't afford to get hurt. I don't have insurance, And so he wouldn't teach me how to base jump until he thought I was ready. And then Donna Reed, a friend of mine who had an extra base rig. Actually, she didn't even have an extra one. She just lent me hers. It was a Gravity Girl rig. It was green and fuchsia and purple, and it was all this like the 80s colors. And I jumped that in the middle of the night at Auburn. And
On your first jump?
Yeah.
PCA? Pilot Chute Assist?
I went handheld, hand deploy. We didn't know to do a PCA yet. That was used to have to go handheld, hand deploy,
Yep.
Hold your pilot chute in your hand with the bridle coming out of the top and just get off and throw it out. And Donna said, kiss a cloud. I'm all, what the hell does that mean? I didn't know that meant look at the horizon and stay
keeping your head and
balanced.
chest up.
Yeah. And
How tall is that bridge?
it's like 720 some odd feet. But when you go down the lower steel and you land up 100 feet up on the bank, you're looking at 600 and some odd feet.
And what's the Perrine 486?
486, yeah, top to bottom, yeah. And but yeah, I went with Diving Dave Potts, Jay Waller, Shay McConkey, and myself. Oh wait, was Broderick on there? It was either Broderick. No, it was Cliff Ryder. Cliff Ryder's with us, and they're all like, Miles, do you want me to go first and everything? I'm like, no, out of the way. I got this. Fucking got this. And I climbed over the rail and I get ready. Got my pilot chute, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to jump out. I'm going to pull this big flying Hawaiian like a flying squirrel, and grab my ankles, even though I got a pilot chute in my hand like a dumbass. And arch your back. Because I used to do a lot of diving off diving boards when I was a kid. And if I had listened to myself do that dive off the high dive, it would have been a perfect exit. And I got over, and I was getting ready to go, and I looked down, and all I could think, and it was in really loud voice. It's not even my own voice. It was, you could die, you could die, you could die, you could die. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm really dizzy. I'm really dizzy. And I climbed back over the rail. And when I got back to the other side, I went like, I was holding my breath. I forgot to breathe, man. Like Karate Kid. Daniel San, don't forget to breathe. I didn't even breathe. I was just dizzy. I was like, whoa, I'm losing it. Climb back over and my friend's like, holy shit, are you all right? I'm like, no, man, I'm not. Do you want me to go first? No, I got this. All right, don't forget to breathe. And I climbed over and I took a couple deep breaths. I'm all, okay. And I looked down again and I'm getting ready to go. And I'm thinking, okay, come on, man. You got tons of bungee jumps, like hundreds of bungee jumps. just do a bungee jump exit, you know? And I'm thinking, okay, bungee. And when I go bungee jumping, we go out flat, but then we go into this Acapulco cliff diver, like straight head down. And sure as shit, dude, I went off and I went straight head down. And like as soon as I started going head down, I panicked and just panicked through. And I'm like big into a big like extended body dive. I'm like, don't rotate. You know, open up your axis as wide as you can and axis of rotation. And I felt my Velcro go, and then I felt my parachute hit me in the feet behind me. And then when it opened, it hurt and I saw spots. And my feet, I was like straight head down when my lines caught me, and I swung up and I kicked my lines. And then I settled back in and I saw my canopy. And before I grabbed my toggles, I heard carnival music. It was weird, dude. It was like, I'm like, who played the carnival music? And I grabbed my toggles and I'm like, yeah, I'm totally going to make it. And I wasn't a very good canopy pilot at that time.
How many jumps did you have?
And 86. Yeah, 86 skydives. And I did a practice flare. You know, you do your controllability check, practice flare, left turn, right turn, practice flare. And then I started lining up the fire road, and it's dark. And when I don't wear these gaiters that are prescriptions with bottle cap lenses in there, I can't see very well, especially at night. And
even back then?
Yeah. I didn't even have glasses back then.
But you couldn't see.
I couldn't see crap at night. Like perspectives, you know, I'm looking for trees, and I know there's a tree down there, and because I've walked the landing area, because that's what you're supposed to do most of the time. And I went down, and I knew there was a tree somewhere, but I couldn't really see much. And I flared and stood it up easy. I'm like, dude, I totally nailed that. That was awesome. And that was one of my better landings at the beginning of my base career, I should say. Yeah.
And from there, I'm assuming you just started layering jump on top of jump.
No, because I didn't have gear. I was living at Squaw Valley, which is really expensive to live. And I had like 2 or 3 jobs at a time. And I was just surviving and paying rent and buying food and skiing my ass off, you know. And then it wasn't until I started doing landscape construction for Rare Earth. And then I was making good money. And, dude, I was making $16 an hour. It was awesome. It was actually awesome.
That still is awesome.
Then I started buying gear and crushing it, you know. And when I bought a rig, that's when it was on. But right when I bought my first rig, that was when the guy who was teaching me, Frank Gabali, he drowned in the Merced River after jumping El Cap, and the Rangers chased him, and he tried to run away and swept down the river and drowned. Super sad. And it was that time in my life when, because I was like on the fence about whole base jumping thing, you know, and this is dangerous. This is gnarly. I want to live long. I want to tell stories when I'm old, you know, and I got lots of things I want to do. You know, I'm an athlete. I want to do some kind of athletic thing with my life. And when Frank died, all my roommates, we were all messed up. You know, everyone's just like gone into their little coma, and like everyone's freaking out. And I'm just like, and we didn't even know he was dead at first, you know. And
because they first reported him as missing, right?
Missing, yeah. Well, he went into a class 4 hole and recycled in the water. They didn't get him out for weeks because the water level was so strong.
Weeks?
Because 1999, like 3 or 4 weeks, because the water level was so high. After 1999 was the biggest snow year. It was like 11-year drought in Tahoe, and then we get the biggest snow year, the best snow ever. And then that summer, Frank goes and jumps El Cap, and we knew he was down there, and then and he said to not tell anybody, you know, that he was down there, blah, blah, blah. And then the Rangers are calling our house looking for him. Hey, we know your roommate is missing, and we thought we saw him here. And someone's all, yeah, we haven't seen him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he went to Yosemite. I'm like, what are you, you're not supposed to say, oh, dude, he's going to kick your ass when he gets back here, you know? And I was just like, you guys are, screw you guys. You're supposed to like not give him 4 or 5 days or something. And you already spilled the beans, and, you know, and then after 4 days, 5 days, we're like, yeah, he's probably not.
Yeah, probably better at that point to come clean with everything and initiate search and
rescue. But I
rescue.
just wanted to, you know, listen to his wishes that he told us know, before that all happened. And so we had like a little turmoil going on in our house and stuff. And I'd get home from work and go play tennis with my buddy Corey, just to get out of the house instead of sit and cry with everybody, and like try to keep it moving and keep life going. You know what I mean?
It seems like he ushered in definitely a generation of base jumpers under his tutelage.
Oh, Oh, dude, yeah, he taught all kinds of people, and Diving Dave Potts, Shane McConkey, myself, like a
Well, you
whole
and Shane
bunch of
ended
people
up
from
jumping together quite a bit after that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you guys start?
Same day,
Yeah.
week, not same day, but same week we started skydiving together, but we didn't know it. Like a few days off. When did you start skydiving? In September, on the 6th, 6th of September. He goes, wait a minute. That's when I started. Oh, no, wait. I started like 3 days later. I'm all, dude, I finished 3 days and then I left. And, and we were like, what? No way. Let's go to the drop zone. All right. So we started broing down then, and then we started base jumping the same time too. And our base numbers were always like, I'm one up on you. I'm one up on you. I'm one up. And we're always like competitive with everything we did to like getting married, to having kids, to everything. You know what I mean? Yeah. When did you ask? We got engaged last week. Oh, dude, no shit. We did too. When did you ask? What time? What day? Because we didn't know we were doing that, but it was always competitions for everything. Broing down with Shane was some of the best times in my life, dude. It's like that guy just out of control, on a roll, just so fun and so happy, and like take any situation, even a bad situation, and make it fun and happy and just awesome. Yeah.
The movie, the documentary, McConkey, about him is awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're all over that too, and your disgusting Tour de France fucking base jumping helmet at the point. Tour de France.
Love that thing. I still have that.
Why do you love that thing?
Yeah. Well,
you're like wearing red croquis.
I didn't know any better. That's why, It's just like, that
right.
thing looks cool.
Yeah, you guys were up at the top of that massive antenna. I'm just like, God,
because it wasn't normal.
Damn it, Miles.
It wasn't your normal helmet, and I didn't like to be normal. Like,
no, it was a
weird,
bicycle riding helmet.
Yeah, but for speed though, it was like flat and tight here, but it was like teardrops. It was built for speed, and I like to go fast, like ripping down stuff.
Certainly was built for speed.
Yeah.
And so did he start with Red Bull before you did, or was that similar time period as well?
Yeah.
Well, he probably did skiing-wise.
Skiing,
I guess
exactly.
I mean air sport-wise.
Skier, yeah. Because at the time, living in Tahoe, I was working with Uncle E, Chris Ernst, who started the ski across movement, the ski across border cross, which is now in the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah. That was invented in
skier cross. What is that?
Skier cross. You know how where you got whoop-de-doops, berm turns, and you go 4 at a time, and you're bumping elbows and pushing each other.
No, there's some of that in the McConkey movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was when skier cross originated. It was in 96, something like that, 96, 97. And it was I was just getting into base jumping as we were doing that skier cross. Lord of the Boards, we called it. And I actually I actually started that event because I was the starter. Racers ready, 10 seconds, and I dropped the gate. So yeah, but Chris Ernst, he gets all the glory. He's the man that started the whole thing, conceptualized it and brought it to, pitched it to Red Bull. They got behind it, and it was all over Tahoe. We went to Copper Mountain, Colorado. We went Mammoth. We went all over on a big tour and did skier cross and border cross and tele ski cross. And then now it's in the Olympics. It's Olympic sport. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, when that Lord of the Boards came out, that was when I was like buying my first base rig and doing that kind of thing. And my friends were like, and it was all underground. I wasn't allowed to talk about it because the bridge we were going to was technically gray area on legal, I
don't really think it was. It was illegal.
Yeah. Only if you're caught.
Yeah. Gray in the sense that it was completely black and white.
Like charcoal. Semi-gray, like charcoal colored. Yeah. But yeah, we...
Unless you throw a check down and you make a movie like Triple X where they let you legally. It's funny how when you have zeros on a check, everything becomes legal.
Yeah,
did they launch a car off of that thing?
Hell yeah! Can I be on it? Yeah.
My buddy Tim Rigby did the jump for that.
Dude, Rigby's the man.
He is
hero.
The shit.
I love Tim Rigby.
Yeah,
he's so awesome. Yeah,
but it goes from illegal to, hey, do you mind if we just launch a few cars off? They're like, of course, go ahead. It's like
that day that he was doing that first jump, we were sneaking up the steel. We're like, what are all these lights doing? What is this? What the hell? We're supposed to be able to jump off this thing, hopefully, and we start climbing up, and this security cop like opens the door and starts walking out, and like I almost put my hand right by his foot. I just stopped moving, and he just kept walking by me because it was dark still, and I like turned around and Broderick was like making noise. He's all fuck. I'm all, shh, look over there. Fucking cop. He's down here. We gotta go. Yeah. But and then we went to the dam that day and jumped that one instead. But yeah, that was cool, man. When Rigby sent that car off the bridge. That was epic. Oh my god, dude. I got a chance to work with him.
There was no CGI in that.
So quality. Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was like 100%
that was
legit.
Full send or no send right there.
Yeah. You either live or you don't, Yeah. But they did it so well, And being outside of the car was like, yeah, you're not going to get trapped inside of it, which is easy to do, with the winds and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll take a hard pass. Pass.
I would have done it.
I would stand on the back. I mean, in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need more than 6 to 8 seconds to go ahead and fasten my seat.
Seconds?
6 to 8.
I know. That's my joke.
Unfasten my seatbelt and get the hell out of the falling car.
Exactly.
So when did you... How did you work? Not work your way onto the Red Bull Air Force, but how did you end up aligning with the 6th?
Yeah, being Shane McConkey's okay. So I'm doing Lord of the Boards, and that was a Red Bull event. So I'm kind of tied into some Red Bull people back then, and then I was like guilty by association with my friends who were putting on the event, and then. In the skydiving world, we'd go to Skydive Lake Tahoe, and it was Charles Bryan, Mike Vale, and Alaska John DeVore were the 3 Red Bull skydivers. And when they were opening their drop zone, I was one of their first customers, and I cruised in and was like, "Hey man, what's up? You got skydiving? Can I go skydiving?" Oh yeah, Miles, what's the job? Let's go skydiving. And I thought they were going to skydive because they're all world champions and this and that, and I'm just like some dude with a 170, a Sabre 170, and
a danger to yourself and everybody around you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. But I got a helmet camera already.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Of course.
And
you need to have maximum entanglement opportunities.
Exactly. And it was on side mount, with a big old PC 101 with a big giant conversion lens. And and then they're like, "What do you want to do, Miles?" I'm all, "Oh, we're gonna jump together." And they're like, "Yeah, okay. I've always wanted to try one of those sky balls, And here's one, sweet. And we got out and we threw sky balls around. I actually touched it. Yeah, it was awesome. And then so at the time there was those 3 Red Bull skydivers. This is '99 when skydiving was when Red Bull was just hitting America, 98, 99, And so there's 3 skydivers there. Shane was the Red Bull skier. And then when Frank died in 99, there was a void because Frank was the Red Bull skydiver and base jumper. He was the base jumper who also skydove because he was ripping free flyer and crushed it, dude. He was so talented. Oh, man. Learned a lot from that guy. He was ahead of his time. You know what I mean? His sense of thinking and his train of thought was just like, what? Oh, wow, that's more, whoa, I didn't even think about that. More philosophical than normal, And so when he died, Shane was getting into base jumping and was like, "Hey, I'm going to put together a base jumping event in Baffin Island." And we went up there in 2000, and Shane put together a list of people to go there, and I got lucky because of who I was with and who I knew and who knew me, And basically his list was himself, and it was Charles, it was Mike Vale, it was Felix Baumgartner, and it was Miles D. And they're like, "Who the hell is Miles D?" in the meeting, and I got really lucky because I had a couple people speak up for me, like Long Paul Crandall, big marketing dude and kind of head of things in Red Bull in the office. I don't even know, but things, and then there was also
the manager of things and stuff.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'm an athlete, dude. What is the outcome of this, Miles? What is the projected revenue? I'm like, I don't know, man. Just give me the parachute. Let's go. Get out of my way. Yeah. And Bob Unvert, who was the Ocean Watch Productions, he was the president of the film company that Red Bull hired exclusively to do all of their stuff. And Bob Unvert, LBU, Long Bob Unvert, and Long Paul Crandall, it's kind of crazy. But he came up to Points North Heli Adventures, and they did the Red Bull Snow Thrill of Alaska. And I was working up there fueling helicopters and washing dishes and tail guiding on heli skiing. And So Bob Unvert and I went to Chico together. We're like, Chico. And we just hit it off. And when we get back from heli skiing, they have all the footage and they go to this room and lock themselves in and start editing and I go up and I'm all, hey, you guys doing all right? Because my job is like basically to take care of everybody at the resort at Points North Heli Adventures, and I cruise up there. You guys doing all right? You eat anything? You guys hungry? I can bring you dinner. You guys want beer? They're like, oh yeah, oh my God, because they can't even think of anything. Like, we got to get this out in like 10 minutes or whatever, or an hour or whatever, and they're cutting all this footage from the day. And I bring him pictures of beer and food and stuff, and Bob Unvert and I start hanging out, and he's like, hey man, can you guys do a skydive or something? I'm all, yeah, because I came flying. This is before speed riding. At Points North, I would go hike up about 2 hours up to the top of this hill, the big old mountain, Mount Eyak. And I would take my stiletto. I'd bring my skydiving rig. I'd take my stiletto, unpack it, take the pilot chute off the top in the bag, and then I would unstow my brakes, and I would run with the front risers and get my canopy over my head, stiletto 120, and just run, pop your brakes and take off. And then I would fly out, and I would get high enough so I could bust a big old 180 dive turn and come in between the buildings, and helicopters and stuff at Points North just come ripping through doing like 50, 60 miles an hour and landing on ice on a road. And like, you can't stand up on ice on a parachute. I would love to see someone.
I've never tried it, but
it's not easy. It's impossible. I don't know. There's probably possible, but not by me. And I'd slide in on my butt and I'm like, I'm going towards the van, towards the building. And I'd carve it, on the ground. And Bob Unvert saw me do that. And he goes, hey, can you do a skydive? Can we get one of these helicopters? I'm like, hell yeah. So we did that for the Snow Thrill of Alaska. Anyways, in that meeting, to make a short story long, in that meeting, Bob Unvert and Paul Crandall spoke up. Miles would be great for this, And it was my first big wall adventure to go to Baffin Island on this. And
which is not easy to get to, right?
Dude, no. You fly up to Canada, you got to stay the night, and then you fly up to Baffin Island, which is northern Canada. It's like across the way from Greenland, and it's in the Arctic Circle. And it's you get to Clyde River, which is the only town around, and it's a small town. It's like a series of like trailers, you know what I mean? And in the winter, it's just so desolate up there and stuff. And they say they have a drinking problem, but I didn't have a problem. I've got plenty of booze. But but we get on these Kumatik sleds they're these long ladder-like sleds, like two ladders or two big skis with like ladder stuff, and they strap all the gear on and fuel and tents and generators, so we can, because we got a production crew and everything, and then they tow it with snowmobiles, and we jam out like. It took us a day to get out there. We stayed the night.
A full day of travel?
Yeah, a day. We stayed the night, and then the next morning, we like noon, we got to the Samford Fjord, and oh my God, it's just 4,000, 5,000 foot walls just sticking up out of the frozen ocean. We're on the frozen ocean. It's all just flat. It's not flat. It's like doosh, 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 doosh. And if you sit in the back of the sled, you're like comfy and chill. But if you get on the front, you're like goosh, goosh, goosh. You're like, my brain can't take this. But we get to this place and we just start losing our minds. It's so awesome. And we got lucky. We got a helicopter up there. And
I was going to say they had to bring a heli in to lap that thing.
Well, before the heli got there, I'm like, hey, can we hike this one? This one looks good. And I hiked it like 3 times before the heli arrived, And then we were actually on top of it when the heli arrived. We're like, shit, we got to get down there and repack these things quick, Yeah. And so we did a Baffin Island trip in 2001. And
the footage from that trip is pretty epic.
It's all time, dude. It's all time epic. Because we used Cineflex, FLIR cameras, as they called it back then, and Eagle cameras.
It's not a FLIR at all, but
I have no idea. Is it like
FLIR is forward-looking infrared.
Okay, yeah. See, that's what they were calling FLIR camera. I'm like, shoot, okay, whatever, man. It was awesome. I knew that, and I knew how to jump and pull and fly and land, and But we got
that had to be weird though, jumping over that sheet of white.
You can't see it. You don't know when to pull because it's just you're jumping into a whiteout. It's freaky. But what we did was we would get some of the guides to jam out on their snowmobiles, and then you track out to them, and when you see their faces, pull. And you see the dude smiling, and you're like, pull now. You're like, dude, opening at like 200 feet, coming off 4,000.
Your comfort level of pulling low is higher than my own.
I practiced a lot,
You have?
Yeah, out of helicopters and stuff in Alaska and that kind of thing. And
yeah, that.
Out of something in Alaska,
I'm sure the statute of limitations has passed. When was Frank's death the impetus to have the event in Yosemite, like the base jumping protest? They kind of went.
Yes and no.
They kind of went south.
That was more of a reason because that event was coming on anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that was more of the like a way to make it tangible or a way to make it like legitimize. This is why, because you guys killed Frank and blah blah blah. These rules are dangerous. And but the thing is, Yosemite is the perfect place for base jumping, and it was legal down there in the 80s. However, some bad apples had spoiled the broth, spray painted some rocks, stole a truck, a Ranger vehicle, like went through a barricade, ditched the vehicle, some things happened that really pissed off the Rangers, and so they made war with the base jumpers, and that's where you think, oh, base jumping, isn't that illegal? Well, only in national parks, and that's why everyone thinks it's illegal, because the national parks made
or downtown LA
rule. Now downtown LA
or New York City
now. Yeah, thank you, Jeb Corliss. Yeah,
or Las Vegas.
Yeah. Thanks a million base jumpers who jump there over and over and over and over and over.
You're gonna get the capital F felony in those cities.
I know, man. Yeah,
that'll change your life.
Mess around. Yeah, I don't mess with that. That's not a good letter. Usually not.
So they were going to do that protest anyway.
Yeah. And
didn't go the way I think they wanted it to.
No, it was bad.
Were you there that day?
I was there. Dude.
Oh fuck!
It was really bad. Shane and I went down there, and we had rigs, but we're like, nope, we're not going. This isn't our thing, Well,
the
we're
deal
just here
was,
to watch,
you could jump, but you had to surrender your rig at the bottom, right? And get arrested or whatever it was.
And pay your $1,000 fine and get arrested and have your name on the list. But you got to protest the rule, and they weren't going to beat you up in the landing area, which happens, But, you're going to get a felony. You can't say they beat me up because it doesn't even matter, But, yeah. I mean, I don't really know about that. I know about that. Yeah. I've heard the stories. But, yeah. So, but I wasn't too impressed with what they did because Avery Badenhop, he's the one that organized it, and he's the only one that didn't jump. He made a canopy special for that event. Said it's our park too on the top skin, trying to make a statement.
That's a perfect place to put it where nobody on the ground can read it. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess the shots from above will be okay, but where you're going to land and where you want people to see your message.
Hope they have a really good lens up top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it didn't really make a whole bunch of sense, but
yeah, bottom skin would be better for that. But.
Way better. Yeah. And I mean, that one would be good for Bridge Day, but yeah, that's something else. But Avery kind of organized it, set it up, got it going on, and Team Body Bag showed up, did a couple of jumps. Mick Knutson and another dude.
Team Body Bag?
Yeah.
I've never heard of them.
They were wearing the same colors of the stuff that I wore, the gravity gear stuff, and it was like lime green and purple and like, what's that? Orange color or whatever, whatever. But, not that I'm against that or anything. I had a jacket like that for skiing, though. I can't really give a shit. My first ski jacket was awesome. Thanks, Steve Matthews. But Shane and I were down there watching, and the first guy goes off, and he does a 2-second delay on El Cap. It's like 3,000 feet, 3,200 feet, and he does a 2-second hop and pop, opens up. And now he's holding into the wind, and he barely makes the landing area, right?
Ugh.
And it takes him like 6-7 minutes to get down, right? Maybe more. And then, and we're like, yeah, that wasn't very neat to watch or anything. It was pretty boring, And when he landed, they're supposed to like land in this like cordoned off area. That's like they fenced off an area for them to land safely away from the people, and goes into a ditch and just piles in. And poof, we're like, ooh.
It's not a good opening act.
That's a demo jump where Shane and I are like, what? The next guy goes, same fucking thing, goes off opens high.
Why are they throwing their
I don't know,
so
man.
high?
I really don't know. I think I've heard the story. I can't recall it exactly right now. But I don't know if they just didn't have sliders, what was up. But they just hop and popped and flew down. The second guy didn't stand it up either, out of the circle, like way out, And I'm like, dude, Shane, we should have went up there. Oh, my God, And then Jan Davis goes, and it's all over. She goes off and is tracking, and everyone's like, yeah, this is base jump. This is cool. Woo, yeah, cowboy stuff, Coming down, tracking. And when you get past like a finger or what's that there's a ledge that sticks out. I can't, oh man, brain farting. She goes past this one spot where you're supposed to pull, and you could tell like, okay, you're getting low and coming into the talus, and then starts waffling. And we didn't know, but she was searching for a pilot chute, I mean, yeah, she's searching for a pilot chute, wobbling. And then, and we're like, pull. And then just
impact
behind the tree lines. And there was 1,000 people there watching it. Okay.
Were
Easy
you
1,000.
up top or down low?
Down below.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, CNN was shooting it live coverage around the world at the time, right? This was like the worst thing that could have happened to our sport at the time. And we were just like, we're watching. I'm standing with Frank's mom, who drowned the year before, Ricky Gambali. And we're watching, and Jan's husband is right behind us shooting it, and she goes in. It sounds like a shotgun blast. Blam! And there's 1,000 people down there. Yeah, woo! Boom! And then that echoes off the wall behind us, and then echoes off the wall in front of us, and then echoes off the wall behind us. You could have heard a pin drop after that. It was
I bet.
It was so bad. It was so bad. I just wanted to cry. And everyone's like, Miles, what happened? What happened? I'm like,
The fuck do you think happened?
I don't know. That had to be like a dummy or something, because like a person would pull, a person would yell, they're going to die. I don't know. I don't know what happened. And everyone just quietly left. And it was just like, it was sad and ominous and like, oh, it was horrible.
What do you think happened?
I think she wore an old rig that had a pilot chute stowed in a leg. They used to have pilot chutes in a leg pouch.
I've jumped one skydiving.
Me too. My first jumps were in
arguably
that.
the worst design ever,
Yeah,
especially if you're
you
going
have to put Velcro down the thing. Yeah.
or if you're going to sit fly.
Oh yeah. That was before free flying, where they invented that stuff.
God.
It was, but yeah, she missed her pilot chute and couldn't find it and just went in, dude. Oh my God.
See, I had heard that. And
that was my first death I've seen base jumping, and it
Yeah.
freaked me out, man. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I'm sure it freaked everybody out in that valley. I mean, obviously she went behind the trees, so the impact wasn't seen, but
you couldn't see it. Yeah.
that noise.
It's so loud. I still hear it. Yeah.
I've been at the DZs where, you hear the whistling of the canopy, and actually I take it back. It's not the canopy, it's the lines.
Mm-hmm.
And then that sound of just meat on
Yeah.
wet concrete. And I've been there packing, and it's like you don't even want to lift your head up because it's somebody that turned way too low and they couldn't get out of it. And it's just, it's not.
Trapped in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was horrible. That was bad. That set everything back. Especially Jan. Man.
It's crazy to me because I think of how many times that I will touch my pilot chute even before skydive.
Yes.
Or standing on it.
Build your motor muscle memory.
Dude, even at the bridge though, for one, you're nervous, so you're getting like this routine. But I'll probably touch my pilot chute 15 times with a base rig before I go.
Yep.
I just don't know how somebody misses it.
I don't know, man. Well, it's a thing. It's a demo. And on demos, you're thinking about different stuff. What's the camera's doing?
That's
What's
true.
my thing?
Yeah.
She was wearing a striped suit, like I'm a prisoner, that kind of thing. And man, yeah, it's just too many things on your mind, and you gotta stay focused, and you gotta stick to the fundamentals and the basics. Otherwise, you get yourself into bad stuff. Like all those things that we do, everyone on the Red Bull Air Force, they're like, dude, that's so awesome. How do you do that? Well, first you gotta build a great set of fundamentals so that when you're doing this crazy stuff, you do the fundamental stuff perfectly, because you have to,
Yeah.
There's certain things you have to do.
Well, and you look at the experience level. I know I'm fortunate enough to know most of you on the Red Bull Air Force, the 7th Department of the Department of Defense.
Yes.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
Aren't we the 5th?
Space Force is in now.
Oh,
Army, Navy, Air Force,
But we were there
Marines,
first.
Coast Guard, Space Force,
Yeah, I love that.
Red Bull Air
Space
Force. Yeah.
I love that. Dude, can you sign up when you're 51 years old?
No, you cannot.
Damn.
No. I would volunteer to be a door gunner on the fucking space shuttle.
Yeah.
Just mowing something down with a laser beam.
I'd be up there sweeping things up with a little vacuum.
No, but I'm fortunate enough
Whatever,
to. I mean, I know you and Jeffro pretty well, and Sean and peripherally some of the other guys. I think most of them.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for they're posting videos of flying next to the porter, in their wingsuits,
touching the wing
and
in a wingsuit. Yeah.
What people don't see though is the 20, 30 years of experience and the tens, 20, 30,000.
20,000 skydives to get there. Yeah.
It's and then that to me I think is the little bit of the danger of YouTube. People are like, oh, that's what I want to do. It's like,
Yep.
Well,
go touch an airplane. I hear that. I get emails all the time, and I'm like, holy crap, really? Okay, how do I do that? Well, first go start skydiving.
I get people who will message me or email and say, what's the fastest that I could go from skydiving to wingsuit base jumping? And I just like, listen, I don't even
200
want
jumps. Easy answer.
Sure, but is it easy? I mean, 200 jumps might work for some people. When I met you and started base jumping, I had 33,000 jumps, 3,500 jumps before I ever had done a base jump. And I had never touched a wingsuit.
Yeah.
And then my progression into wingsuit was
pretty quick. Why don't you get out and barrel roll this next one, bro? And you're like, okay. And then you stuck it. You weren't supposed to stick it. You were supposed to get in a flat spin and recover.
No, I don't want to get. You know what freaked me out more than me getting in a flat spin was watching Triple S get into a flat spin.
Sanders. Oh, dude, that was awesome.
Because
I've been in worse ones than that, though. Yeah.
That was the one that I have seen the most, like, upfront with live action through my own eyes.
Yeah.
And because before
you should have seen your face, dude.
Well, you'd be like, do a barrel roll.
And I looked at you and I saw him, and you were like,
well, you'd be like, hey, do a barrel roll. So I would try, and I would do it. So I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad. And Steve tried one, and it went worse than anything I've ever seen. And then I was like, shit.
He arched, man. Yeah. And was like spinning frisbee on his back.
Yeah. How would you describe? It's essentially.
It was like Top Gun. He's in a flat spin.
Yeah.
He's going out to sea.
Well, the wing is stalled. I mean, that's one thing. He's on his back.
It's in a frisbee.
I'm trying to figure out the best way. I mean, you're on your back, usually, face up, spinning. And so think of the centrifugal force that is building with that, too. Like, I know people who have had their
could pass out. Yeah.
Their retinas, detonate, bloodshot eyes. Yep. People have passed out. I know people who've had to fire their reserve to get out of that.
Yep, me too, yeah.
It's, first off, I've only been in one briefly, and I got the fuck out of it as fast as possible. But I actually think it might be worse to watch somebody that's a good friend of yours in one than actually
you can't do anything for them, you know?
I just was like, oh my God.
Yeah, totally. Your face was said that too. And oh, man, that was awesome.
It gave me more respect for the stuff that you were asking me. You're like, yeah, do a double. I'm like, okay. Because I hadn't seen, and then I saw it go bad. I'm like, I'm not doing a double.
Yes.
I will just fly belly first, and we'll just do that.
Yeah. Because I was like, okay, if you ever get in a flat spin, do this, do this, do this. Okay, now go out and do a barrel roll. Because I wanted you to it's like the backflip. Respect the suit. Because if you don't respect the suit and you do it like at 2,000 feet, like after you rip past a flag with the Navy skydive team.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got into it. I forgot about that because I was under Canopy watching you in a flat spin, dying laughing at you.
I pulled it together, man. Yeah. It seemed like it was
I think you mean you pulled it out of your ass.
I did. Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah. Like a cartoon.
Because like I said, I was under Canopy after having pulled at a normal altitude, and you were beneath me spinning on your back.
You wasted altitude and pulled high.
Sure. Okay.
No. No, but you're right. I was going through, decision altitude on my back, and like I flipped it over and pulled it together and opened, and
I do agree with you, though. If you don't respect the suit, they will bite you.
It will take you down. Oh, dude.
And the suits aren't small. I didn't really have an appreciation for the size of those suits.
We were on Aura 2s.
The first
Aura.
The first time we ever went base jumping, we were in our A2s.
Yes.
The first suit, I did one jump in that S-bird and then put on an A1 or an A2, which is not the progression that I would recommend for people.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah. I got a little bit of a thing from Squirrel after that. Well, hey, Miles, the real progression that we want to see people do is, but you don't know Andy, dude. He's got his shit together, dude. He's like I call him the golden child, and he gets mad.
No. Well, I had at that point 3,500 some jumps, so I at least had an understanding of like relative wind and. Yeah. I've been through.
You're a pilot flying airplanes. You know how aeronautics work.
And I had been through, the first malfunction with cutaway can be what could be aptly described as emotional.
Yes.
And then the second one and the third one and the fourth one, you're like, okay, like the gear's going to work. I just need to execute my procedures with enough time. Yeah. And like the first one, you might be throwing handles. After that, you're like, those are expensive, so let's just hold on to these. Put them down our shirt.
Totally.
Yeah. You're like dealing with the malfunction a little bit more, so you can like. When you cut it away, it kites over the drop zone. That
Exactly. You can plan it.
Yeah, and because you're not as consumed, and the fear of the unknown. I remember before my first cutaway, I was like, "Oh my God, it's going to be terrible." And then you have one, and you're like, "Okay, it's not that bad."
My first one was pretty funny. I was on a Stiletto 120, and he goes, "It has a built-in left-hand turn." And I was usually flying 170s, and I wanted to try this rig, so I wanted to buy the container, and.
It's quite a jump down.
Turn. What are you talking about? Oh, it's a huge jump down.
Yeah.
I've jumped a couple of 135s, and that was it. And then I'm going to jump on this. No, it was a 135. And anyway, no, it was a 120 with a left-hand turn. That's why. But I've jumped some 135s, and I'm all right, I'll try the 120. I think I got this. Landing at 5,000 feet field elevation in Sky of Lake Tahoe. It's thinner air. And I get spun up, and I'm on my back, and I'm looking at the canopy facing backwards, and I'm trying to kick out, and it's like, holy crap. And I'm just diving at the ground, and I look at my altimeter, and I'm like, that's decision altitude. And I cut away, and in one movement, I peeled the Velcro, punched my arms, and threw the handle, just gone, right?
Which is what most people do on their first one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, gone, dude. Yeah.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yep. And then I'm still on my back spinning
Yep.
like Steve Sanders on his wingsuit. And then I pull the cutaway handle, and my reserve, something happened to my shoulder. Went, well, bam, because I think everything came up under my arm. And then I'm like, fine. And I'm like, I go and I land, and I chase down my free bag. And my friend Steve Blinko went and chased my canopy. So he lands with my parachute. I landed with my free bag in the landing area. And as I'm picking it up, I look over, and there's my cutaway handle right next to me. So I pick that up, and I'm all, sweet. My friends are all, dude, did you keep your handles? Yeah, I got them right here. And then, well, let's check the video and see what happened. And we watch the video, and you can see me peel and throw it, and everyone's like, we got you, man. You totally threw your handle. Yeah, I did. Consumed by fear, for sure. Yeah.
Throw the handle if you want to, as long as you get both handles out in the correct order.
Yes.
Who gives a shit?
Yes,
They're
right.
like $30-$40. You can get some new ones. It's totally fine.
Yeah, sequencing is key.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, that was my first chop. And then the second one was like, holy crap, it's all messed up. I cut away, and then I started tracking after that. And then I was thinking, holy crap, I packed this reserve. Oh, and then I landed in Lake Tahoe and swam for about 2-3 minutes, and I never repacked it. And that was like 4 days ago. And then I like pull the reserve handle and bang on heading, like, woo, yeah, thank goodness, yeah.
Yeah, it can. I worry about the people who hit me up with the express desire to just go repeat what they see on YouTube. Like, you can't really short circuit that amount of experience. Like all the stuff we're talking about when it comes to malfunctions or the canopy control. I mean, I was jumping. The smallest man, the man I have right now is a Valkyrie 84, but it was like a 103 before that, a regular velocity, and then a comp velo, and then like a 120, the normal progression.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty fast progression. It's normal-ish.
No, but like there's there's years in between.
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Like I would have years on the 103, and then the design improves, and honestly, the 84 flies almost identical to the 103. Yeah. But I was on a 150 for 5 years, and then slowly started. But I had every kind of malfunction or steering toggles fire on opening and all that stuff. So then in the base jumping world, I had a better understanding of what I should probably do because of my experience under canopy. I don't think personally the 200 jumps is really going to compare and prepare for what could happen, because you have to go.
Yeah.
Like Via Ferrata, when I climbed up above the knot, I didn't have much time.
No, you're set back in there. There's a ledge. You got to like start flying before the ledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's an advanced wingsuit exit, by the way.
The Via Ferrata?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
You don't just start sending that on your first day.
No, we did it like day 3.
Well, I mean, most people. Yeah, I know.
That was an awesome trip.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Went to
epic.
Italy. Alex met us there like 2 or 3 days later?
Yep. Yeah.
I found the video of him on his first jump off of Monte Brento, which was his first, it wasn't his first base jump, but I think it was his first cliff. He was visibly shaking from head to toe. It was awesome.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I don't remember doing it, but I was standing behind him talking shit to him, of course, just like, dude, why are you shaking? Because he had like full sewing machine leg, just and then he was just like cotton mouth, just he's like, oh, dude. It was amazing. I mean, we had been there for like 2 or 3 days, but that place, what a great intro.
Yeah.
Because that was the first. I think we didn't do a slick one off there. That was my first wingsuit base jump. Was off of that.
Yep.
And then to the valley.
That's a good place because it's overhung like crazy, dude. Yeah. I love Mount Brento. It's such a good training ground. It's safe, I mean, safe-ish.
Yeah.
It's the best possible scenario you could put yourself into to learn.
People still get in trouble there.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, they put themselves sometimes into the dirt. But
it's as safe as you make it, man. It's like driving. if you want to go out and just rip it around and like, full speed around a corner and try drifting, yeah, you better be careful.
So when you after that Baffin Island trip,
Oh yeah,
that was the beginning of the Red Bull journey. Did they just? I mean, I would imagine. I mean, it's not that base jumping was in its infancy, but it certainly wasn't very recognizable.
Yeah.
Did they just start wanting to do a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more?
Well, yeah. I mean, I got asked to jump out of paragliders. Hey, do you want to go do this thing out of paragliders? And like you basically jump out and open low and come in for
Demos,
wings
basically?
over Aspen. That was my first demo ever. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, and here, I want you to wear this helmet and this canopy. And my friends were like, you know what that means, Miles? I'm all, yeah, I'm going to go jump out of paragliders. This is awesome, Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty epic, man. And I started a long journey of traveling and flying nylon and some of the coolest places with the coolest people. And yeah.
When did they start really building out the Red Bull Air Force skydiving team? Kind of at that point, that was the initial inception of it?
No. Well, okay. So the guy I first jumped from, Othar Lawrence, he's a Red Bull paraglider, and Chris Santa Croce and Robbie. Oh, can't remember Robbie's last name at the moment. Well, Chris and Othar, they were the Red Bull paragliders. And I went and jumped off Othar first, and then off Chris, and then off Robbie. And about a year and a half later, Othar said, we should get the skydivers together and the paragliders together and just do tow-ups and launch people, and we'll build an Air Force, and a Red Bull Air Force. So it was kind of Othar's brainchild, Othar Lawrence. And yeah, Shane was on it. And our first thing that we did together, we went to Stampede Reservoir, and we were doing tow-ups with a winch system. It's a payout winch that, like a boat, will like pull out a big line. It's a 5,000 foot Spectre line, and you attach it to like a harness that goes onto your paraglider, and then when you're ready, it's like wakeboarding. You give him a signal, hit it, and then the guy on the boat, and then there's a guy controlling the winch, and he's basically frictioning how much line is paying out.
It almost sounds like parasailing.
It's parasailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's basically a winch that's paying out line, and you go really fast in the boat so that you're pulling with enough tension that will pull you up.
Yeah, rockets you up.
But not too much, because there's a thing called lockout. If you start going up and you're past a 45 and the parachute can't go up, and it'll start to turn and dive at the ground, and it'll lock in a straight down at the ground.
Nothing about that sounds awesome.
It'll kill you, dude. People die all the time. Fuck, dude, And so when you take off, you got to steer straight up, and it wants to dump you off one side or another, and you just keep it straight. And what we were doing is we're doing tandems. And we were doing tandems with one paraglider and two guys hanging on the bottom of them running, and the wing goes up, and Shane and I are running, behind Santa Croce, and then he gets lifted off, and we're running, we're coming up to the lake, and we're like, oh crap, and we get lifted up in a couple steps, we're like doosh, doosh on the water, and then we're up in the sky, and we go up to 2,000 feet, and then we cut away from the line, that's the tow-up line, and that gets reeled back in to the winch. And then and we float around in the paraglider, wait till that winch reels that thing in, and then we're still at 1,800 feet, and then we just start cutting away and falling off of the paraglider. And I had a broken hand at the time, and had a left hand pull out with a right hand cast.
Why?
And I'm using just my thumb.
Why would you even use a left-handed pull? That is
my right hand was broken, man. I had a cast on it, Yeah.
Such a novelty piece of gear.
I know.
God.
And I always, when I healed that hand, I had 2 base rigs and 2 skydiving rigs, and one was lefty and one was righty.
Oh, come on,
And
man.
I would always reach the wrong side first, and then have to switch. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Then I switched them up. Yeah.
Again, I'm glad you're still alive.
Thanks, man.
How long were you? How long was it in your base jumping career before your friends started dying?
It was a while. I mean, when we saw Jan, I didn't really know her, but that was
your
first one,
like,
and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was that was my second year into it. I was 2.5 years into it and watched Jan.
Did that particular one change your perception at all, or you're just like, fuck, it sucked to be here?
Yeah, that just sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, dude, she fucked up. And
Yeah.
come on, it's plain and simple, do this, do that, do the thing. Where's your fundamentals, And I was just like, okay, mental note, don't forget to, dude, do that, do the thing, pull. If you don't pull, you're going to die. And yeah, well, Frank died before that, And even the year before that, before I was even a base jumper, I was with Dan Osmond. We were rope jumping off of the Leaning Tower.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up there a couple of times. Once was super fun, all rad and everything and awesome. And then I left. And then Dano got in some trouble with the Rangers. And then I went back out there with him to go pull down the systems. It was like a giant Tyrolean traverse between Fifi Buttress and the Leaning Tower. And then we were jumping off of a jump line that was attached to that Tyrolean traverse. It was a 1,000-foot rope swing. And Dan Osmond called it flossing the sky. And you jump off and you fall 1,000 feet. And it looks like you're going to go in. Like, you can't even pull that low on a base jump. You're like, oh my God, I'm going in. And I, like, the first time I did it, I went fetal. And just like
you
rolled
were that
over.
low. You thought you were going to impact.
I thought I was impacting. And I roll over and I look up at the line and it's just making this giant S in the sky. And I'm like, I'm going in. And all of a sudden, whew, it makes this big, Dan Osmond called it flossing the sky.
As it tensions?
As it tensions, the line goes, whew, and it just straightens out and it like cuts through the air and it makes that big flossing sound in the sky. And then all of a sudden, it stretches so much. It's like 6 climbing ropes tied together, and they stretch. So it's actually softer hit than a bungee jump, because a bungee recoil, like it'll stretch and then boom and yank you up really fast. And this one was like
Like a gradual deceleration?
Yes. Yeah. It was super nice. And then you're just hanging in space, and you look up on your line that you're hanging from and you can't see the Tyrolean traverse. So your rope just goes into the sky and disappears. And it's like, holy crap. And you're like 200-300 feet in the sky, and you got to like roll out a rope that's in your leg pouch, a little tiny, thin little like micro rope. It's like cable, and you roll that out, and then plus the rest of the jump line. And then, you take the safety line off, and then you start rappelling down on a gree-gree, and you get down to the next rope. You got to transfer ropes, and you go from a gree-gree to a stitch plate. And he's all, yeah, Dan Osmond's like putting it together. No, that's not right. Does it again. Like, no, that's not right. Yeah. Okay, when we get down to the line, before you put this in, just wrap the rope around your leg about 12 times, and then hook this thing in, and then try it a little bit before you undo your rope. And I'm like, okay.
So confidence inspiring.
See you later. Yeah, I'll see you at the bottom, maybe.
Jeez, yeah, one way or another.
It was gnarly, dude. Yeah. And then, when I went back with Dano, we did 2 jumps each. He did one in the daytime, and I did one in the dark. And then the next day, I did one in the daytime, and he jumped in the dark, and that was his last jump. And
what happened on his jump?
I mean, the jump line broke. It probably interfered with the haul line that we bring the rope back with, and it broke at the knot. So you'd think that the wear would hit right there and then sever it. And that was the first death that I had really seen, except for when I was a kid. I saw a kid drown when I was in 4th grade, but other than that, was like when I saw Dano like die, like I watched him go off and everything was cool and rad. I was kind of in a weird place because I was like, are you sure, man? You know this? We changed a few things before he went. Are you sure, dude? And he's like, yeah, it's cool. I got this, I got that. Okay, but what about this? And like, no, it's cool because that. So I was undecided when he went. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't have a warm, fuzzy feeling. And then he was like, tree crash. And I'm like, oh shit. And I knew I'm supposed to go out on the Tyrolean, wrap down to him and save him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then with another line to get us both down. And I'm like, I can't do that. I don't even know how to do that. You know, I got to go to the bottom. I don't even know what I'm doing. And if I went out there and wrapped down to him, I would have wrapped off the end of a rope. You know what I mean?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'd have been dead too. And people wouldn't have found us for a while, way out in the middle of nowhere. And so I was just on the radio to him and jammed down there, and I found him down below, and I ran down to the bottom, called my friends and called the Rangers, and hey, we need help, blah, blah, blah. That was a rough one, dude. I was in a bad way. My mom calls me like 2 or 3 weeks later. She's like, how you doing? Everything okay? I'm like, no, Mom, everything's not okay. You know, I get drunk every morning and I cry myself to sleep. Actually, I'm happy all night and all day, and in the middle of the night I just wake up fucking bawling, crying, and like I was a mess, dude. It was horrible. And then my mom said, all right, coming home. She brought me home. Sober up, dude. All right, thank you. Appreciate that, Oh, God. That's a depressant, alcohol. Yeah. It works at the beginning, and then it just drops at the bottom, dude. Oh, God.
It's a lot, though. I mean, being the first person to arrive at a scene like that, I mean, it's not that's not a light burden to bear.
No, dude. No, it sucked. I wasn't ready for it. Hell no.
I don't know if anybody is necessarily ever ready for that. You're kind of more thrust into that situation than, any kind of preparation or being ready for it.
Yep. Yeah, no,
that was all before your skydiving.
I was skydiving, but I wasn't base jumping yet.
Okay.
I was planning to base jump. And dude, those jumps on that rope off the cliff and like you're getting the perfect base exit and dude, I was tracking off of the leaning tower and I'm going out and I'm aiming between these two trees and I'm all, I'm going to split the gap on these trees and I'm all looking, oh shit, but the rope's going to yank me to the right. I'm going to hit that tree. And then I'm like, stop the forward speed. And I was going long arms and short legs and just like stopping and like trying to backslide a little bit. And
so you were getting legit free falls.
Oh, dude, like 12 seconds. And then like you're going full terminal.
Yeah.
And it would catch and you roll over and you look at the tree that you would have hit if you kept going straight and you're 30, 40 feet past the top of it. It's about a 80-foot tree and you're like halfway down it. And then and it's up on a hillside. So if you tracked uphill, thanks for coming, Yeah, it was brutal. It was so cool. It was the funnest thing ever. I promised my mom and my wife that I would never rope swing again like that. But then I had to clarify because rope swing base jumping, on the other hand, that is a cool thing. I go, I'll never rope swing again without a parachute.
Well, it's because you're intentionally letting go. Like you have a plan for the landing.
Full trust in it,
Yeah. Well, you have a plan for the landing. And,
off the rope. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Is that you or me, Miles?
Hello, Mom. My ringer's off, dude. I'm a pro. What are you talking about?
My ringer was off too.
Yeah, whatever.
That was your ringer.
Pull my other leg and it jingles. Nice.
And then you've been base jumping long enough that you've been around now. I mean, shit, I hadn't been base jumping that long, and I'd been around. One of the years in the valley was like, okay, fuck, will people stop going in? It was just like, no. Like every other day, it was other side of the valley, the helicopter pickups, dude. Lived on the high ultimate.
Yeah, and Lauterbrunnen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We watched that rescue.
Yeah.
Dude. And then one helicopter, we jumped right over.
I didn't jump over the helicopter. You were leading that, and I just was following you.
I know.
I didn't see a helicopter.
We went in and apologized, and that guy was way cool.
He was cool because we went in and apologized.
Yes. If we didn't, he would have been pissed.
Yeah, he should have been pissed.
Of course, dude.
Yeah.
People above his rotors,
Yeah.
In wingsuits.
It was fine. I mean, we made eye contact for a moment as we.
I saw his mouth he actually kept it steady. He just looked at us and went, "Huh," and just kept flying. That's the key to flying is always keep flying.
Yeah, but in that sport, injuries are going to occur, or I should say, activity. I don't know if it's a sport or activity. Injuries are going to occur. Your friends might potentially pass away. I mean, I know. I mean, obviously, Shane would be a good example. Mm-hmm. I know your buddy Eli
Thompson. Yeah.
Did that stuff change your perspective as you were going along, or did you kind of accept that was the potential consequences of that chosen life?
That's a tough one, man, because like it really tears you up, and like you start to like question. You're like, am I doing the right thing? And is this even cool anymore? And then you go and do a jump, and you're like, fuck yeah, that's cool. This is like most fun you can have with your clothes on. And then, but like, it's weird. Like when Eli died, we kept going. When Shane died, we kept going. But when Uli Gegenschatz died, he was the most methodical dude that I like for base jumping that I had ever met. He was always overanalyzing everything. You're like, dude, just get done talking and let's go, But he's like going through every little detail of everything, right? And when he did a building jump, which wasn't really his thing, and he opened up and he's outflying the top of the building that he jumped to land down below, and he skipped off the ledge and his canopy surged forward and he impacted the ground really hard. He survived, but he broke his, I guess it was his leg, his elbow, he broke a bunch of stuff. And then they do a thing where they put you right on the cutting table and fix you right away so you heal quickly in And he died on the operating table of brain hemorrhage. And when Uli Gegenschatz died, that's when I took like probably the longest break in my base jumping career. It was like, I took like a month and a half off. And I was just like, I don't know if I should do this anymore. You know, it was just like, this is the guy that's the most methodical, had it together, dialed in, you know, preaching the good word of fundamentals and safety and everything. And then boom, gone. I'm like, oh, my whole world has dropped out. And I didn't know what to do, man. And then I was like, what am I going to do? You know, I have no idea. I'm like, back to landscape construction. What am I, you know, I have no idea. Like, be a PE teacher. That's what I went to school for, you know, and then I started base jumping again, and like, okay, all right. I don't know. To me, I don't know. Call me crazy, but when I'm alone out there jumping, I'll talk to my friends who have passed all the time. That's my special time to like reconnect with them, you know, and how we were before they left, you know, and yeah, it's crazy. Talk to ravens too, because I think the spirit's in them of my friends. I'll talk to these birds, dude, and they hang out. And
ravens
are
assholes.
They listen to you though. They'll hang out and they'll just listen to you get everything off your chest. And then you're like, all right, go fly with your friends. Go be with your friends. And they're like, ah! They'll take off. And you're like, that was awesome. I needed that talk. Thank you.
Did you ever have any hesitation to teach people or shepherd them into the sport? Because that's how you and I met the first time.
Yep. I mean, I've started teaching people who I started getting very concerned about. And there were a couple of people who I said, hey, don't go anywhere besides this bridge and don't do it by yourself. It's a couple people like that. But
did they follow your advice?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. I'm like, hey man, I'm looking out for your longevity. If you want to survive this game, you know, like play the sport, live by the rules, you know, and you know, right? It's like what Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
It's like surfing's like a way of life. You can't just call time out and stroll back onto the beach when you don't like the way things are going. You know, it's like once you jump, you're committed. You're like, you're in it to win it. And it's a freeing feeling. That's kind of one of the things that I love about it is like when you're on the edge of a cliff and you're like, okay, should I do this? Do I trust myself? Right. And as soon as you lean past where you can't catch yourself and you haven't pushed off yet, but you're about to give everything you got into it, that's my favorite part. And like, you're like, I just feel power that I'm like, the most free you could ever feel, you know, like Braveheart, you know, it just feels good.
Now, I asked you about teaching because I love it, but I don't think I have enough experience to appropriately mentor somebody, but I don't want the additional, I would feel, I guess, responsibility for the people that I had taught.
It's stressful, dude.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like I mean, when people do ask me, I just point them in your direction. I'm like, dude, go down to the Twin Falls. It's the most chill place. Not doesn't make it any safer because you can do stupid shit and kill yourself, but it is
have died there.
The most chill place. You don't have to worry about the law. You're going to get a nice little hike in on the way up. But I don't want to mentor anybody because I would feel, I don't know, it would worry me.
Yeah. I think I'm lucky, like so fortunate to have been with Frank because he would always look into the future and he would always say, he'd make predictions and goes, mark my words, this is going to happen. And I was like, all right. And he would always say, if you pay attention in life, you could see signs of everything that's going to happen. You know, there's little tiny, if you don't pay attention enough, you'll miss the signs. But if you pay attention and you see the sign, you're like, oh, they happen again. Oh, there's a pattern developing here, you know? And that's my thing is to like, try to like step back and not be so judgmental, but just open-minded and watch people do their thing. And you see people's natural tendencies and what they do. And like, hey man, and you don't tell them what they're doing is wrong. Cause that's the worst way to teach. Cause I went to college to be a PE teacher. I'm supposed to coach wrestling and track and field and all that stuff. But, like you're supposed to, because if you tell them what they're doing wrong, they'll focus on that and they'll never be able to get rid of it. You want to not paint pink elephants in their heads like that. You want to tell them, hey, try to do it like this. Focus on this, because if you get to this area right here, then you're golden. And then they're like, oh, was I doing it wrong like this? Yeah, don't worry about that. But let's do it like this. And that's the thing is just to watch people's if they have any bad tendencies, which you had none.
I'm sure I had plenty. Plenty, I'm sure.
Yeah, you couldn't get in a flat spin on a wingsuit. I couldn't teach you how to save yourself. You just kept sticking it. No, but like if you can get people to get a good base of fundamentals, you know, like get your fundamentals sound and strong. And these are the things that you have to do, you know, and you can get them in a pattern of this. And like And okay, say you're a pilot and you're getting in your plane. You kick the tires, you check the fuel, you do the thing. You do the pre-flight check. You do all of that with base jumping. You do you plan the jump the plan in your head. You want to make sure you're ready to dial it in, and then you make sure if things start to go askew, you just correct it. Got it.
And have more than one plan. Have a primary.
Oh, have a backup. Yeah.
Yeah, people might be surprised. I mean, that probably think we were nerding out the amount of shit that we talk about. Like, I am jumping directly at this. I plan on, you know what I mean? And you're walking in, and then there's someone on your left. Like, what are you jumping at?
Yeah.
What am I jumping at?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
we're good. What are you? And it's a lot up there.
Yeah, oh yeah. Especially with the wingsuits, and you don't want to get into somebody's like bad air behind them.
Yes.
That's how Johnny Flores. Oh man, fuck. Yeah, you
he
go off and
he burbled on exit probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Titless, yeah. And
what was the name of the jump?
Titless.
It's not a solid
Titles. It's a word from another country, Switzerland.
I'll call it tight lease.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Gonna change that up because that's
better.
a fucking terrible.
I know. Right? I know. I thought, well, who fucking named that? And they're like, no, someone way long time ago. That was the name of the town. Yeah. And but that's a really nice place. And oh, dude, when we were walking out there in our sneakers, we started sliding, and we almost Swanson and I got like, oh God, help, stop us sliding, and we stopped and we're like, let's go buy some hiking boots, and like clicking, because we didn't think there was going to be a bunch of snow up there, in June. But yeah, there's snow up there in June, and you could slide right off of a cliff just like that, getting to the exit point,
Swanson loves the heights, though, right?
Oh, he's so afraid of heights. I love that he's so afraid of heights because he's such a badass in the sky. He like crushes it. World champion free flyer,
he's
wingsuiter.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So amazing. But I take him to the KL Tower, and you stand up next to the edge, and you have to get up on it's like a 3 times the size of a curb. It's like a 12. It's like almost a 2-foot ledge that you have to stand up on, but he couldn't stand up on it without holding somebody's hand, and he's got this really deep man voice. Hey, can I get a hand over here? You just laugh. Here you go. You okay? Yeah, we'll be once I get off of this thing,
Yeah, he's such a Jedi in the air.
In the air, he's great, but on the land, dude, we almost died going up a different one. With Scotty Bob taking us up, and we were going across this scree field. It was all loose shale rock that cliffed out 30 feet below us. And we're walking across, and we're low, and I'm below him, and he starts panicking and moving, and rock starts sliding, and I'm about to just jump on him and flatten him, pancake him, and I'm thinking, we're both going to fall off this thing. John's freaking out. John had a phone to video, but couldn't video because he's so freaked out that he was like, dude, these guys are going to die. And Swanson's freaking out like, I'm all, dude, take a deep breath. Fucking calm down. Deep breath. Dude, you got to stop panicking. I just want to knock him out and drag him out of there, but you can't because dude, we would have fallen.
What was Scotty Bob doing during this time?
He was way up ahead.
Probably just laughing at you guys.
No, he was gone. He didn't even notice it, and he came back and was like, you guys okay? What's up? What's taking you so long? Nothing, Yeah. But oh dude, yeah, it's like the approaches are gnarly in some of these places, dude. You're no man's, and it's not just the approaches too, but I mean an avalanche can come. Rock fall can just take you out. Boom! It's like a meteor coming out of the sky, hitting you in the city. You never know. It's just happens. That's what freaks me out.
Didn't somebody fall off the Hyla-Moose? Or not the moose approach?
Yeah.
Which actually, it means moss, right? That French for moss?
Mossy. It's slick. It's mossy. Yep. Jürgen. What's his last name? Jürgen. He came out. I base jumped with him. He was awesome. He was a German dude who was doing tandems in Mexico. He came to America. I showed him all over. Got him an antenna. Got his base number. Then he was doing tandems in Switzerland and Lauterbrunnen, and he was out doing laps on the moose. And at the end of the day, everybody's like, we're going to get dinners. I'm going for one more. And he slipped off the trail with his gear in a stuff sack still.
Fuck.
And maybe he slipped, or maybe because there's also what are those things called? The big horns, the Steinbocks up there. Because if you get, they're territorial. They're like big giant rams.
Oh, you think it jacked him off?
Maybe.
Maybe that's not the appropriate term, but
what are we really talking about here?
They don't have.
That wasn't a happy ending.
Yeah, they don't have thumbs, so that likely didn't happen. But I meant to run and hit him in the head.
Dude, we have a dog named Jack.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jack, come. And he gets on the trampoline, Jack off. And I'm like, I look at my daughter and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And she's so young, she didn't get it. I'm like, whew. You know, but yeah.
You know what other approach is sketch is the high nose, where it's all open to that left-hand side. There's
no
the little
fall
bit of
zone.
rope. Yeah, definite no fall zone.
Dude. Yeah, the exit's really nice now. They built a big platform up there.
At the high nose?
Yeah,
Really?
it's awesome, dude. Yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
it's similar to the Via Ferrata, like a big, it's like corrugated metal
Like a
with
patio.
holes in it. Yeah, but with holes in it, so the snow and rain goes through
Cool.
it. But it's like you can walk out on it a little bit. Yeah.
Do you still go there every year?
No.
Or try to?
I try to. Yes,
Yeah.
I couldn't go last year. So bummed, but I love that place, dude. That's where I get fit. You know, I'll come home because food's so expensive, you don't eat very much, and you're just running your ass off, hiking and going and going and go. You wake up and you're like, let's go,
Yeah.
and you go until you can't, and you go to bed and you just you're asleep before your head hits a pillow, and then you're up and going. And I love Lauterbrunnen Valley. I wish I was Swiss and could yodel better. You know,
You do yodel quite a bit.
yodeling.
Yeah. You could probably fool most people.
Yeah,
It's good.
maybe. Yeah, and if I had hair, it would be blonde. It used to be anyway.
20 years ago.
I know, right? Yeah, true.
Yeah, that valley is a special place, man.
Oh, yeah,
There's so many,
magic.
and at the same time, I've seen far too crazy shit occurring there.
Mm-hmm. Highs and lows, bro.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
For sure.
With the super highs comes some super lows. You know, you gotta to balance.
When did you decide to start the old Miles D base camp? I mean, you got an official, actual, I would say even
an
curriculum.
LLC.
You
Yeah,
even have a waiver of
I know.
all things.
Oh yeah. 2004 is when we started that. Moved to Idaho and started Miles D's base camp in 2004. And I forget the exact number because it adds more every year. But I've taught quite a few people.
What would you estimate it at? I was going to ask. A couple hundred?
1,000.
Really?
1,000 people, easy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Teach a lot of people, dude. You know, get them some good fundamentals, dude. You know,
Yeah.
This is what you need to do to survive this sport. You know, and yeah.
Have you done other trips like you did with me, where we started
Yep.
there and then the European base safari?
Yep, we've been to Brento a bunch, and I'm planning on headed to Norway with another group here as soon as we can. Like as soon as this pandemic releases and we could go, and because there's a wingsuit place that's you can do 10 in a day.
What?
Yeah.
Foot travel.
It's a cable car to the top. You
Really?
land in the parking lot almost. You
No
walk
way.
across the street. You land and you pack right where you land, and you walk 2 blocks, and you get back in the cable car, and you go up and you do 10 in a day.
It's crazy to me.
That's how the learning curve just goes.
Well, of course, but it's crazy to me you change geography, go to a different country, and the permissiveness.
Yeah.
And
everyone loves it.
Imagine
it's a tourism attraction, you know?
I mean, there's nowhere in the U.S. that is like that I know of.
There's places, but you have to hike for that. There's no place that we're set up where that is super user-friendly like that. You know?
Notch Peak was awesome. I went there with
Yep.
the man, the myth, the legend, Marshall Miller.
Yeah.
Which was, I met
I've
him.
been back there this year.
Yeah.
Or not this year, but 2020.
And we didn't hike it. It was for actually your shirt 511. We had a heli that we lapped it 4 times. Nice. Totally illegal and permissible, but it's not cable car. It's not packing in the parking lot.
Nope.
Perhaps you need a strudel or freaking cappuccino.
Yeah,
over
that was so nice. Yeah.
I just think, I agree. 1, if you didn't have to worry about the legalities, it takes a little bit of burden off people's mind. 2, the ease. Not that people aren't going to die, and I guess that's maybe in Europe there.
But you can focus on what's real. You know what I mean? You're not worried about, can I get in trouble or anything? You know, I don't do illegal base jumps anymore. When I did do them,
it's not worth it, man.
I was the worst person to be on the load because one person gets a little sketched and then the fear just emanates through the whole group. And I was always the guy I don't want to be here right now. Let's hurry up and go and get out of here, not be in trouble. I want to go skiing, you know? And, I was the worst guy on the load, and everyone's like, Miles, you're not invited anymore. I'm like, okay, I'll go by myself, but then I'm just freaking out quietly,
Yeah.
But, I love legal base jumping and been setting up some things in China, Wings for Love. And,
it's been a few years since you've been able to go back there, right?
2 years. Yeah. I mean, everything that's going on over there. Yeah. But The thing is, I know they're building a cable car right where we want to go, or a gondola.
Really?
So, yep. It's going to be game on here next year.
It's hard to describe
Not
the
this
convenience
year, but the
of that.
following year. Yeah.
Even in Lauterbrunnen, the laps are like, I'll come down.
Yes.
Perhaps we will get a hot dog and a coffee and a cable car up and a train right over, and it's a 5-minute downhill hike.
15-minute walk, no big deal. Or the downhill, that's
The high
5
nose,
minutes,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, the high nose is beautiful. Oh my gosh. Then you can go all the way to the land in the heliport and that kind of thing. But Norway has some places too it's just like they're building cable cars right now that are like, and you just hike over and go.
Are they building them for the express use of the base jumpers, or is it?
No. They're building them to put a restaurant up top, tourism, and they're just busy. They make money up there with their cable cars. And
That was also one of my. Where's the crack in Wallenstadt? That restaurant at the top. Hit your cappuccino.
I don't know about that restaurant because we did helicopters when we went there.
Of course you did, you
dude. We got out of a helicopter and we walked like 8 steps. Like you get out and you zip everything up, and I'm like, where is it? And Mike, you want to show Miles where the exit is? And he goes like 8 steps. He goes, right here. Yeah.
That jump was cool. I got with Alex about a dozen there, and
the Point Break line. Yeah.
Yeah,
I went with the Point Break dudes, man.
Well,
and they were in Point Break formation, and they were like, come on, Miles. And we were doing a web series called Miles Above, which you can check it out on YouTube. And that's exactly what I was on the formation, Miles Above.
Which is much safer.
Yeah, it is.
Now, the Point Break sequence, though, they combined about 3 different places. That was like the Jungfrau exit with the crack flight. There was a lot of shit going on in that.
Yeah.
And somehow Jeb Corliss makes an appearance in that movie.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny, right? Yeah. Man,
He got in a touch of trouble in New York.
Oh, yeah. Just a little bit,
Yeah.
Don't let me go. Or no, let me go.
Didn't the guy handcuff him to the railing or something like that?
No, he was an off-duty cop. He just grabbed him through the rail and held him. And he's like, let me go. And he goes, you're going to die. He goes, you're going to kill me. And they got into it. I don't know, man. It was crazy.
Front page, like New York Times.
Dude, it was like, scandalous.
Yeah, I don't know this. I don't know this story well enough.
Sue you for millions of dollars. I don't really either. I know it was just bad.
I know it was the Empire State Building, an attempted base jump. He didn't jump, got in a lot of trouble, and New York was like, "Fuck you! If you base jump, it's a felony."
Now New York's done. It has the most beautiful buildings. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh well, that's a bummer. Now you got to go to Dubai. Well, they don't just let you do that there, but you got to get permission. You need somebody who has a building to get permission from the owner, written permission, like, okay, and landing area permission too. And then you're, good to go. I'd like to find somebody with a 600-foot building or taller that would like to have a rope swing base jumping contest that it's going to be on ESPN and the X Games. That's what I'm looking for. I want to get that going.
600-foot building, so probably 60 to 65 stories.
Yep. Where you could do aerials, get whipping off of a rope and do like gymnastics, diving moves, and then you have to open on a certain heading, and then you have to land on a target to score those tricks. To keep
if you give the building owner permission, is it still illegal? As long as you land on the same property as the building? Okay.
Or someone else's permission to land on their property, unless you're in New York or in Vegas. Actually, I don't know about Vegas.
Because what you usually get hit with is trespassing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or disorderly conduct.
Reckless endangerment, whatever it may be.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know about that. I recklessly endanger myself when I put skis on, Yeah.
How long are you going to keep jumping for?
Forever, man. I don't know. I mean, my body might not be as fast as it was when I was 20, but
that's kind of the way that works.
I know. It's kind of crazy. I'm having a hard time admitting it, but yeah, I mean, with the way the wingsuits are flying now and the openings are so soft, dude, you could do it. And the thing is, you're hiking up a mountain, which is good for you. So you get a good amount of exercise. High altitude, your heart is growing, and as long as you keep, pulling and transitioning to canopy and flaring and transitioning to landing really well, you can do it forever. I know guys in their mid to late 60s that are jumping,
Some of the softest openings I've ever had are with a wingsuit base rig with mesh slider, because if you can time it at that apex, bleed the airspeed, gain a couple hundred feet.
Yeah.
I usually like right at the top, wait till it goes over a little bit, reach back and pull, push my head down. It's like like that.
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
And then I've also had them where I was wondering whether or not my spine was still attached to my body.
That's because you had a big giant burble of air and you threw out your pilot chute and it went right on your back and you're like, what's happening?
Or
and then
skip the flare and was just like, how does this feel?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a chiropractic adjustment right there.
You know you have a good opening when you kick yourself in the face.
With your knee.
Yeah, when you have actually kicked or kneed yourself in the face, you know you've experienced a relatively hard opening.
Or if you're head low and your feet whip up and kick the lines. I've hooked my foot in the lines before, over-rotated a front flip off the bridge when I had a Velcro rig, and I pitched, and it hung up, and I'm like straight head down when it opened, and my neck, I jumped a bike when I was a kid and jacked my neck up pretty good, and sometimes when I'm driving long distances, I'm all, and then I had this hard opening, like straight down, like my head's like this, and the risers catch your shoulders, but your head goes, and it hurt. I saw stars bang, and then my legs swung up, and my foot wrapped around all my lines, and then I unwrapped it really fast and grabbed my brakes, and I'm like, whoa, what the hell just happened? And then I over-rotated that. I don't even understand. I pitched it right, and I landed, and I'm like, wow, my neck feels good, So I have fixed myself. And when my back gets all messed up because I've been hiking too much and packing, because packing and hiking is bad for your hamstrings, tightens them up really good. If I jump, it just makes everything better. So I think I'm going to do it as long as I can.
As long as your body will support you.
Exactly. Or until we start going to space and floating around up there and doing that kind of thing with jetpacks.
I don't know if you'll get invited for that. You might be like an octogenarian by the time that comes into
hey, man,
a little bit more normal.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen at the bridge?
The craziest thing I've seen at the bridge? Craziest thing I've seen at the bridge. Oh, Shane and Roner, dude, when they're Shane was holding on to Eric Roner with no parachute on.
I believe you told me about this. You were relatively upset with him.
I didn't like that. Yeah, I wasn't into it. They're all, Miles, I want you to do a tard.
So explain what they did though, because it's
So Shane wanted me to do this, and I said nope. And or go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But I was just like, no, I'm not doing that, dude. I don't think you should do that. And so Roner did it. He put on the canopy. So Roner's put on a magic backpack, which is a base rig, but he doesn't have it packed. It's unpacked. So basically he flakes out the canopy and has it in his hand with the lines coiled up, and we throw it up into the air. It's called a TARD, for totally awesome rapid deployment, which I helped coin that a little bit. Exactly.
Yep.
But anyway, so Shane wants to hold on to him, like hold on to the back of Roner with no parachute. So Roner's doing a TARD, unpack jump, opens up, and Shane just jumps off with him and wraps his legs around him and holds on to him.
Did he have like his hands in between his container, like in between the container and his back?
He did something like that. Yeah.
Good God.
I was at the bottom, I was like,
Just
I'm
pissed.
not condoning this, but I'll video, I get good shots. I'll get you, Had a handheld, a little zoom. And somebody got the top shot, and I think it was Cliff Rider, and then opens up, and then he's just holding on to Roner while they're flying. And when you put two people on a one-person rig, you come down quite fast. And then he started to try and flare, and it wasn't quite flattening out. And then when Shane let go and went into the river, he let go about 10 feet and just splashed down. Roner actually went up and then, face planted into the river, Yeah. And that was the craziest thing I've ever seen at the bridge, I think, I
would imagine you see people getting in over their head quite often, attempting things that perhaps the skill level hasn't prepared them for.
I've been lucky and not seen people really get hurt much there, because I see things start to, when you see telltale signs like, whoa, wait, let's talk about this. Did you know that this? And they're like, oh yeah, thanks, man. So I've been lucky to miss seeing some of the bad things by being able to avoid them, or just really lucky because I've been gone when all the bad stuff really goes down. You know? And,
somebody dies there. What about, probably mathematically like once
base jumping every 3 years. Yeah. There's suicides there all the time.
There are.
Yeah. People, especially right now, Corona times, dude, people are sending. Yeah.
I had not even considered that.
It happens a lot.
Do they go into the water or onto the dirt?
50. I don't know. It depends, like just like 2 months ago, somebody did, yeah.
Do they do it at nighttime? Or
my friends all, we got a body. I'm like, ooh.
Oh, God.
Don't touch it. you know, and
Well, it'd probably be telltale if they were not wearing base jumping equipment. You could
yeah.
probably-
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you know, especially around Christmas and wintertime. You know what I mean? That's when everyone's like, "Oh, I can't go home for the holidays." I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's head that do that, because that's not something that's not me.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I was like, dude, I got to invest for life. I want to live as long as I can possibly live, you know, and like last
agree.
man standing. We started a game called Last Man Standing, you know, and the Red Bull Air Force, and it was fun and just to talk about it, you know, and like make light of death, you know, like, oh yeah, we'll be the last man standing, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden our friends started going douche, 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 and then that game sucked.
I was going to say that game is no longer any
It's
fun.
over. No, it's over. Yeah.
What has
Well,
been?
it's really on, but it's over,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, obviously you're going to win, but
Hopefully.
what's been your favorite jump?
Oh, my favorite jump?
Does anything stick out?
Good question. Lots of them stick out, really. You know.
Skydiving or base jumping?
Thousand Salsa. That line that we did that time with you in Sonnenberg, dude, that jump is my favorite jump. That was it. All wrapping around and then landing at the bottom of the Steckelberg cable car. Like, what? And then the paraglider guy trying to give me crap for landing the paraglider landing area. And I'm like, how old are you, dude? I'm all, I've been landing here then, you know? You know?
How about your favorite object you've ever jumped off of?
Ooh, favorite object?
Because you did some Dubai stuff as well,
that's,
too, right?
that's exactly what I was thinking was the Princess Tower. You know,
Which is just like legendary access to have. Because you guys are like packing.
That might be my favorite too. We were
Yeah.
zip lining off of there and then letting go. Two people side by side zip lining, you know? And then the only one time that got crazy was with Roberta, and I'm heavier than her and got off a little bit before her, and my line went down under her. And I'm like, uh-oh, you need to go first, because if I go, my line's going to whip up at you and you need to get clear of mine. So I just like held on longer. And I was like, you go. And we were having conversation, and
While zip lining.
Yeah. And it's fast zip lining. Like the ball bearings on the pulleys, there's like, they last like 3 jumps and you got to redo them, you know? Yeah. And that was probably one of the all-time favorites, dude. And hanging out with Vince Reffitt, who just unfortunately passed away, jet manning.
What
and,
have you? I tried to look up and find some details other than it.
Equipment failure. And,
He was using the wing when he died, was my understanding.
Yep. And he was landing it and taking off from the ground, just and going, and it didn't get high enough, and
Yeah, you're going to be in that red zone where there's nothing you can do. Because he was wearing a skydiving parachute when he flew that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a couple hundred feet off the ground with no forward speed, there's nothing that's going to save you.
750 feet minimum you need, you know? Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, at least that's what on paperwork says, you know, but.
Those guys are.
Yeah.
Fred
Fugan still.
Those guys are such at the front leading edge, I think, of what is possible. Even the thought of
those guys are my heroes, dude.
Oh,
holy
fuck,
shit!
man.
Like way back in the day, I was like, Shane, we gotta go to the drop zone. We gotta free fly and then go to Norway and start free flying off cliffs. And he's like, yeah, but blah blah. And we never did it. And all of a sudden,
they're just
soul flyers doing it. I'm like, that's what we need to do, man, right there, you know. And Dubai, right there with Fred and Vince, and we get off. We like tip it head down. We do like a reverse gainer, but a 3-way with who's on the outside of that one. It was
I think it might have been Jungfrau.
Noah Bonson. Yeah, Noah's outside shooting outside video of us, and they call him Texas because he's from Texas. And Vince Reffitt's all, okay, are we ready? Texas? 3, 2, 1, see ya. And we jump off, and I go, Texas? In the air, you know? What are you talking about? And then we're like head down, and then Vince is all, that's what I'm talking about. And then we all track away from each other and off a building going head down, you know? And we tracking out, and then I watch, like he's going low, like he pulls, and I'm right after him, and then like Noah pulls, I pull, Fred pulls, Vince pulls, like, and we were so tight. And I'm like, holy crap, this is so sick. And then I'm watching Fred and Vince come swooping into each other and landing right there. And I'm like, I'm going in the middle of them. And as I'm hooking it with my front riser to getting speed and diving, I'm like, oh, here comes a canopy. And I like just missed and squeaked it in there. It was like the tightest. That was probably one of my favorite jumps ever right there. Oh my God.
That is awesome.
And then Noah lands right next to us. And the 4 of us are standing like this close, like right where we were when we jumped. We landed like that too. It was like.
Just the access to be able to do, like, it's unheard of.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Dubai is a special place when it comes to stuff like that.
Oh my God. It really is. I want to go back. Get some rope swing base jumping on over there. Whoop, whoop.
What would you tell somebody who wants to do the stuff that you do? What advice do you give to people?
I would say enjoy the ride. Go start skydiving and enjoy it. Don't just go out and like, I want to do this just so I can do that. Do this and enjoy that and figure out how it works in your sleep. You know what I mean? So you could do it like while you're doing something else, you know, and so that it's just natural for you. Because that's what I really teach when I'm teaching base jumping. I'm teaching how to react to situations. Because if this happens, you got to do this. And if this happens, you got to do that. It's like when I was a wrestler. Someone throws a half Nelson, lock it off, look away, pull it off, you know. And if you got line twists, reach out. Dude, you taught me stuff. I learned so much from my students, you know. It's pretty awesome to be able to like Triple S. He gets in massive line twists and he uses his arm wing to use the wind to untwist. And then I do a cutaway right after that because I didn't do that. And then I learned that later on how to like use the arm wing. I'm like, that's a genius. And he just figured it out on his own. But that's the thing is you got to train your brain to react to all these different situations, you know? And I learned from you how to climb lines and use the risers. There's a new video right now. Ben Verdi, he's like, dude, this is how you get out of massive line twists. And he's got good footage of it too. I just saw it this morning and he climbs up and bends the rear risers just like what you told me.
I didn't know what else to do. I was like,
I know. There's nothing else to do, but I'm not going to stop trying.
Yeah.
Right? Because
get the rest of your life.
Don't give the wheel away because it'll take you in, man. Like if I'm going to pound into the ground, I'm going to fight all the way through the landing.
Yeah.
Like fly the crash.
Every handle will be pulled.
Yeah. Even Luke Aiken says, if I go in and if you check my zipper and it's not down, then I didn't try everything. Because I'm going to do everything. And when I'm out of things to do, roll on the zipper. And then that's when you know I did everything I could. And then
probably forget that stuff.
I think I would too, man. But it's a pretty funny joke.
I try to tell people that there's no benefit to rushing. And people don't want to listen to it.
You're not from Russia?
Rushing.
Why are you rushing?
Yeah. No, they want to skip. They want to skip the time.
Yes.
It
enjoy
sucks,
the ride, man.
Well, it sucks seeing people that get in a little bit over their head. I mean, honestly, if I could go back and sit down and talk with Alex and have some conversations with him. I was with him before his death, and he had a couple close calls, and I chewed his ass a few times because it scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. And
he's going fast.
I wish he would have slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
It was
me too, man. I love that guy. Holy crap.
That one scrambled my eggs.
Dude,
pretty hard.
Sorry, man. Yeah. Me too, a little bit, but I'm sure you, because you guys went back, like back.
We went back, but also like his first cliff jump, you and I were there. Yep. His first wingsuit base jumps, you and I. Like I felt a lot of responsibility for. I wouldn't say I was. I didn't mentor him by any stretch because I don't have the experience to do so. But I was there with him when he was having a lot of those first experiences, and we had just some amazing trips together.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I mean, then I moved. We moved up here, which I have less opportunity to skydive and none really to base jump unless I can hook up with Shapiro, which I will in the future. Dude, yeah. But then hear about that.
But be careful because these cliffs are not just like, hey, they're real deal ones. You know, they're not like just trying to cable car to a nice overhung cliff.
But Alex's death recalibrated my perspective too. Like I'd rather walk away from the sport or activity unscathed. I'm not willing to take crazy risk. I'm not interested in standing on the edge of like some moderately positive where I have to have my best push ever to clear. Like fuck all that noise.
No. Yeah.
You know, I don't think I'll ever. Well, not that I was necessarily into that to begin with, but
when the odds stack up against you, it's time to walk away, dude. I've walked away from plenty of it, you know? And that's the thing, too. If you can walk away from the sport, you win. A lot of people can't because it's so fun, like me. You know? I'm like, dude, it's so fun.
But even since I've known you, the way that you talk about risk or the things that you'll be willing to walk away, it changes your perspective over time. And
dude.
I mean, to me at least, if enough of your friends start getting injured or killed, it's like, let's sit down and have an objective conversation about what the fuck we're doing.
Those are signs. You should pay attention to that, you know?
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah.
So I think the only thing next on our docket is to get some stuff for dinner. But where can people find Miles D? If they want to start base jumping, where should they go?
Got my own website, bro, milesdasher.com. And it's not just for signing up for base jumping. It's just check out like Miles Above web series is on there.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff like, hey, check out my photos. Look at me, you know. That's what Shane and I used to say when we were base jumping. Hey, look at me. Then jump, you know. So that's pretty much my way to look at me on the internet, you know, milesdasher.com. And but that's the best way to get in touch with me for, you know, come out to the bridge and get your base jump on. And I'm about to set some dates for pretty soon again for this year. I'm just kind of hesitating because it's tough for me. Red Bull Air Force jobs are like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do them on this day. And then we switch it because of the weather. You know what I mean? Because you got to follow the high pressure system. We're like birds. And it's hard to plan around that. But see, I'll throw a dart at the calendar and it sticks, and I may have to say no to a Red Bull Air Force job. Or I might have to get Jesse Hall to come out and take over for Miles to his base camp. Yeah.
No, people ask me all the time
happened.
how I started. I'm like, well, here you go, people. Here's the answer.
Dude, that was so fun, man. You saved me when you came to my. I got to thank you, actually. You know, I was in a kind of a weird mindset because I've taught some guys who were like, whatever, just didn't respect anything and didn't care, whatever. And like, I was just like, am I even wanting to do this anymore? This is crap. Dude, I had to bust my ass for those dudes, and they treated me like shit, and they didn't even pay me, and it was like, fucking whatever, and they bad talked me, and like, I was like, oh God, I'm going to sell all this crap. I'm over it, you know? And then you came, and I'm like, dude, this is why I'm here. Dude, honestly, you just made it so fun. And because it's the cool people that you meet in the life experiences. And
it was a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It was like we had a week where it's just like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that.
Yeah.
It was good.
And your mind like works quickly, and I'm like, oh, I see it. Okay, I'll say this, and then got it. Okay, I say this, and I got it. And you got like that mentality where you just lock it down. You know, like okay, check, copy. Okay, got you. And
I'll follow instructions.
You follow instructions really good, man. Yeah, way better than I ever did. You know, and you packed a rig the first night on your own. Dude, that was awesome.
Here's what freaked me out though, is that you jumped that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Because I wrote down the steps.
On heading?
Yeah, but thank God you didn't like. You basically looked at it and you're like, it feels symmetrical, and then you jumped it.
Yeah, well, I looked at if pins are going to work, the pilot chute.
Yeah.
I knew something was coming out.
But
and
you should have seen
it.
me at the RV park saying to myself, I think this is how this goes in there. And eventually I was just shoving 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
That's what you do. It's called packing.
Yeah. So yeah, my homework the first night was, hey, pack a rig. So I did. Not expecting that a fucking human being would jump it. I mean, I was not going to. I was like, negative. We will unpack this thing. And you're like, I just threw it on, and you handed me yours that you had packed, which I felt completely comfortable with.
Yeah.
I did not feel comfortable with the fact that you were wearing the one I had packed.
Yeah. Double gainer on heading.
I was going to say,
on heading. That was a beautiful back job, dude.
Oh, God. I don't know if you would have said that if you would have watched me packing it.
Yeah.
It fit into the container. That's about all I can say about that.
That's awesome. No, you did it well, dude. It looked great. It opened perfect. I mean, that's a perfect pack job.
I was legitimately sweating whether or not I was going to kill you that day.
Yeah, as long as you don't have a line over or tension knot, and you can like deal with, you know.
Yep.
I did a thing just recently where we were testing the parachute systems for the Hayduke, the Squirrel Hayduke, which is the best canopy going. The Squirrel Hayduke, check it out, www.squirrel.ws. But no, honestly,
not .com,
.ws.
.ws
for Wingsuit. And holy crap, this Hayduke. These guys, okay, I'm doing intentional cutaways, okay, with skydiving gear, but packing the Hayduke light into a skydiving container and chopping them. And this guy, Alan Hewitt, he's trying to give me really bad malfunctions. And I pitch and I open and it looks kind of messed up. But I'm like, that's not bad. I'm all flare, turn. Yeah, but I'm supposed to like be out of control. So I grab this toggle and I pull it and start spinning and chop it, you know. And I've chopped two before. He's like, dude, you're supposed to be spinning to test this MARD system, main activated reserve deployment, that Velocity Sports is making. Yep. And it's awesome, dude. And that's what we were testing. And
so for people listening, a reserve pilot chute is relatively small. And this system that you're talking about, my understanding of it is it's a connection to your main
risers.
So so that massive parachute in comparison to the pilot chute for the reserve is ripping your reserve. Yeah, it's
static line
so fast. Your reserve opens so quickly.
Yeah, your main canopy static lines your reserve out, and you transfer canopies in like
so fast,
80 feet, 60 feet.
Yeah.
And I got a Tersh belly mount reserve because that's rules. You gotta have another backup to the backup. And I cut away two, but I was flying straight and level. And he's like, that's not what we're supposed to do. I want you to get out of control so that we can see how it opens when you're twisting and you're backwards and that kind of thing. And I was nervous. I was like, dude, don't mess me up too bad, you know? And he's like, okay, whatever. He's like, I do this for a living, you know? I used to do all these cutaways and I know how to mess you up. And he was tying the lines around the slider in the middle and leaving the slider in the middle and just tying knots in it. And I was opening up and the canopy's all starting to spin to the one way, and I grab the rear riser and I leveled it out, and I'm like, I could land this, right? And it's a massive tension knot. I could land this. And I'm like, oh, but he really wants me to get out of control. So, and then I started getting comfortable with being out of control and just chopping this thing, you know. And the last one was like, that was the only one out of like 6 times. The last one was the only one I couldn't have landed. And it was like really tied up and knotted up. Those canopies are so resilient.
They want to open.
Awesome. And they want to fly. They're big and slow, and you could like sink them straight in and stand it up, you know? So that's what I love about base gear. It's just, it works so good. And back in the day, they were the old reserves and people were surging in and hurting themselves. And now like it's awesome. The gear works so well. Like the tools that we have right now are like, yeah, technology, rock and roll. It's so good. And the wingsuits too.
And they only keep getting better and better.
Better and better. And they're using all the wind tunnel testing, you know, jumping in a wind tunnel and flying. But most of the testing is done just human testing, like using a fly site and getting the data from that. And then, you know, all the stunt jumpers are out there just sending that beta back to Mike and Matt Gerdes, dude. And they're just like, okay, they're mad scientists. Will Kiddo is he's the mad scientist, dude. He's so awesome. I love that guy. And he's a crew dog. I was like, man, I'm like flying with these guys and I'm trying to get video, but I can't sink down without sashaying. I want to like just sink straight down. He goes, warp it. What do you mean warp it? Grab the front riser over here and the rear riser here and just warp your canopy, and you'll keep your same speed, but you'll sink and you'll drop. I'm like, pfft. Boom.
Drops you right in the slot.
Yeah. And I've just been getting like follow cam video footage. That's my specialty. Like when you come to Maltese Base Camp, you get training and you get awesome video of yourself. And I get to train flying on you, you know, and I get to adapt to all different people's thinking and ways to fly, because there's so many different ways to fly. And
for the people who go in through course, you won't even know he's there because you're going to be scared out of your goddamn mind.
Unless you hear me looking good. Hey, thinking about turning around anytime soon, you know? Yeah.
Nope. Downwinder, bitches.
Yeah. Let's see flare. Yeah, totally. I'm not fucking, I'm turning around.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, there will not be video of that landing because I'll be going into the wind.
Other way, yeah. I've done some downwinders with people though too. It's pretty fun.
That's a vibe. Closing thoughts by Miles D.
Dude, thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, man.
You know,
it's been far too long.
I know. I miss you. You're awesome.
I'm due for a trip back down to the bridge. I don't know if I'm necessarily ready to completely hang it up, but again, it's just what I'm willing to tolerate from a risk perspective. I'm not going to go hike for 6 hours in the backcountry, Montana, by myself for a sketch exit.
Yep.
I will certainly go for a latte and a couple bridge jumps down at the Perrine.
Yeah, totally. Maybe a boat ride. Come on, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Indeed. Cool, man.
And,
well, thanks for making the trip up.
Thank you, Andy, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, bro.
Rock and roll.
Thank you again to ExpressVPN for supporting the podcast. Did you know that your internet service provider, like Comcast or Verizon, they know every single website you visit? Go to expressvpn.com/clearedhot, and you can get an extra 3 months for free, and you can stop people from tracking and monitoring your online behavior. Take a look at the service. It's super easy. It's a simple app download, pick a location, fire forget, and you are protected. And that is it for this week. Thanks, everybody.
Understand the west bank of the river? That's A firm, west bank, and gives me hell. Still give it to me in the grove. Okay, one's in from the north. I've got the west bank of the river. Two's going to give it to you in the grove. Roger, give me that gun run. Right along that bag, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to tune in, whether you're listening on an audio-only platform or you're watching on YouTube. I appreciate that you take the time every week to tune in. People ask me a lot, what can they do to help me spread the word? And the answer is actually embedded in the question. The biggest thing you guys can do to help me, if you enjoy the podcast and you think it would be helpful to others, is subscribe and share it with other people. And if you have the time, go on to Apple Podcasts and leave me a rating and a review. If you think the podcast sucks, tell me it sucks and leave a 0-star review or the lowest stars possible. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion, you can go to clearedhotpodcast.com. And there is a contact me button right there, which will land in my inbox. And the last thing, if people are interested in helping out, what you can do is fly the old flag. And by that, I don't mean an actual flag because I don't have any of those. I'm talking about t-shirts or sweatshirts or hats, whatever it may be. Again, clearedhotpodcast.com, click on the shop tab, and hopefully something in there looks like it would be an item you would like to wear around town. And then you can tell people what it is when they ask you. But that is it. The biggest thing I can say is thank you. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, see you.